an area a few kilometers away from the beach. The originally flat ground has become the surface of the moon. As far as the eye can see, there are potholes everywhere, cracks on the surface, and cracks can be seen everywhere, like a scene of doomsday. What are you doing? Gustav looked at Victor suspiciously. Just now Victor was heading towards the beach when he suddenly threw a boulder. This puzzled Gustav. Victor didn't answer. His observation hockey spread all the way to the beach. Just now he predicted that Qiwuhai would not be able to rescue Canard, so he made a move to help. The Secret Service is his basic base, a combat force that can be used, and his team in the headquarters will be in the future. Victor didn't want to lose too much combat power. Boy, although you are very strong, don't underestimate me. Gustav and Victor have just fought several tricks. Victor has great strength and speed, and armament hockey is scary hard. Incredible. Victor is only 20 years old. Oh. Victor replied calmly. Even Roger, Whitebeard, wouldn't dare to look down on me like that. At this time, Gustav's body began to change. His skin had turned gray, as if a thick layer of plaster had adhered to it. And Gustav's head turned into a crocodile head, and a thick tail grew out of the ridgetail. When Victor looked at the giant crocodile over 50 meters in front of him, his expression was very calm. Gustav's material, he has read it. In the form of the Emperor Crocodile, Gustav has a super terrifying bite force. Even a warship would be easily crushed by him. Of course, this is not the most terrifying. The Emperor Crocodile is covered with armor. Bone plates grow in the skin, making their skin difficult to pierce. In addition, it is the terrifying vitality and resilience of the Emperor Crocodile. Emperor crocodiles can survive without eating for a long time. Moreover, they have 4 atria. When hunting, the powerful heart can send a large amount of oxygen-rich blood to the tail and head, enhancing their explosive power. With this devil fruit, Gustav challenged the strong everywhere in New World. Gustav, who turned into a crocodile, flicked his tail. The thick tail swept across, and a hillside tens of meters high was crushed. He's showing off his powers after transformation. I know you are difficult to deal with, so I found a helper. Victor said calmly. Ha ha ha. Gustav heard this, thinking that Victor wanted to find more Marines to besiege him. No matter how many people come, I won't be afraid. I will eat a lot of them before I fall down. A lot of people. The horror of Gustav lies in his development of Devil Fruit's ability. According to information from Naval Headquarters, Gustav has awakened. After awakening, Zone Devil Fruit has a terrifying recovery ability. Plus, the crocodile itself has thick skin, high attack, thick blood, and strong recovery ability. It is not an easy task to defeat Gustav. Therefore, Roger, Whitebeard and others did not want to entangle with Gustav. Victor shook his head with a smile, and said, "You may have misunderstood." Misunderstanding? Gustav's eyes were full of confusion. Victor said with a smile, "I don't like anyone intervening in my battles, because I have never been weaker than anyone in my life. Whether it is Roger or Whitebeard, I don't think I am weaker than them." You are really crazy. Before Gustav could finish his sentence, he saw Victor's transformation. It's the first time I've used its power to fight. Victor's body became bigger, and his original height of 3.1 meters suddenly soared to 30 meters. At the same time, tattoo patterns such as the sky, the earth, the sun and the moon, mountains and rivers, and stars appeared on his body. What is even more exaggerated is his muscle mass, which is as hard as granite. Moreover, there was a suffocating sense of oppression on Victor's body. Like a god. Ah, what is this? Gustav's eyes widened. Victor raised his right hand, and the fist was covered with a faint golden light. Divine cut. Victor pressed his right hand down, and that golden fist turned into a huge golden light fist and flew towards Gustav. Gustav's huge crocodile body wanted to dodge, but he couldn't dodge it. Boom. The fist of light landed, the ground was shattered, the area around Gustav was shattered, and the entire island shook. Both sides, who were fighting fiercely on the beach, stopped. What's going on? Did the impact just now be an earthquake? Could it be an eruption of a submarine volcano? The severe earthquake made the people on the island feel uneasy. It's a phantom beast, Gustav exclaimed in horror. The zone phantom beasts can transform into mythical or legendary animals or characters. In addition to possessing zones properties that enhance the physical fitness of the eater, it also possesses certain special superpowers. The strongest species in Devil Fruit Zone. At the same time, Phantom Beast, Devil Fruit is very rare, even rarer than Devil Fruit Logia and Zone, Ancient Species, Devil Fruit. Although Emperor Crocodiles are rare, they are simply incomparable to Phantom Beasts. Well, because fighting you will take a lot of time, so I found a helper and asked them to take care of my subordinates so that I can fight you as much as I want. At this moment, Victor, who turned into a titan, looked at Gustav expressionlessly. From the perspective of a god, he looked at the humble reptile in front of him. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. However, even if Sengoku comes, it is impossible to defeat me. Although he was punched, Gustav's body recovered quickly. His devil fruit has awakened, and his body's recovery ability has reached a terrifying level. However, Gustav knows the form of the beast, so it is impossible to be Victor's opponent. So, Gustav transformed again, and his figure became a crocodile titan. Like the jailer beast in Impelled Down. It's just that after the Emperor Crocodile is awakened, its body is even bigger. Roar! Gustav roared to the sky. Boom! The ground shook violently, and the ground under Gustav's feet could no longer bear his strength, and dense cracks appeared, and the cracks began to spread in all directions. Ah! Along with the roar, Gustav's huge body jumped up from the spot. I saw Gustav spinning in the air, then drew an arc in the sky, and charged towards Victor. Good time. Victor raised his arm and punched the huge crocodile head. The fist wrapped around Armament Haki, and the crocodile head wrapped around Conqueror's Haki, collide in midair. Rumble. A shock wave of destruction swept across the entire island. Everyone present felt as if they were in the doomsday, and the surface of the earth began to collapse. ZZZ Armament Haki rubbed violently. Gustav is horrified, and he wants to crush Victor. Therefore, he keeps unleashing his own Armament Haki regardless of his own consumption. At this moment, the ground under Victor's feet continued to shatter and collapse. However, Victor's mouth curled into a smile. No wonder the strong like to single out the strong. Unscrupulous release of power, arbitrary destruction. This feeling is simply wonderful. As the two separated, a landslide with a diameter of several kilometers appeared in the area where the two were located. None of the landslide areas are flat. However, the two were separated for less than a second, and each rushed towards each other fiercely. Both are over 30 meters tall. Boom, boom, boom. The two punches were faster and heavier than each other. The fists slammed together, and the air explosion and sound waves produced continued to destroy the surrounding environment. However, anyone who is not blind can see that Victor has the upper hand. Despite his larger size, Victor's fighting skills are still superb. Gustav was continuously hit on the head and ribs with heavy punches. On the other hand, Victor was almost never hit by Gustav. One ebbs and another, Gustav consumes more energy. As predicted. More than 10 minutes later, Gustav was out of breath, and his body was continuously injured, which made him consume more energy to recover from his injuries. Do you need a little more time to recover? Victor did not continue to attack, but asked Gustav. It seems to be polite, but in fact it is contempt. Gustav gritted his teeth, clenched his hands into fists, and Armament Haki wrapped his fists. Ha ha ha. Belittle me again and again. Boy, congratulations, I will eat you. Gustav gritted his teeth, anger, fighting intent, and murderous intent erupted at the same time, and at the same time, his eyes glowed red. It's Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki is released with it. As the Conqueror's Haki spread, the black lightning like Conqueror's Haki darkened the sky, and all the insects, snakes, birds and beasts on the island hid in their burrows, trembling and panicking. Although Conqueror's Haki is a kind of kingship, only one person in a million has it. But this is New World, the strong who can come to New World and dominate one side in New World, how can they be mediocre? As Shaq Lock Doll said, in this sea, there are countless silver medalists who are hated just because they have not defeated Whitebeard and Roger. At this point, Gustav decided to kill Victor at any cost. He is king of the sea. The king's anger is not something that mortals can bear. Under the coercion of Gustav's Conqueror's Haki, everyone on the island, whether it's a marine or a pirate, is extremely disturbed. Victor. Guillaume looked in Victor's direction worriedly. The Titan in the distance stood still, unaffected by Gustave at all. I reminded him that Gustave shouldn't be the target. Jiaji muttered and continued to complain. But his attack didn't stop. While driving Johnson back with a knife, he blocked Bogner's attack and saved Eric. On the other side, Eric, Kennard and others were breathing heavily. They are also adapting to combat. Thanks to you, we may not survive today. Bogner looked down at the wound on his chest, and just cut his chest open with a knife. However, the wound was not very deep. He is Zone Demon Fruit Power, the wound will stop bleeding quickly. We have to retreat early, Chi Noel said worriedly. Every pirate in the Crocodile Pirates has seen Gustave's appearance after being enraged. After Gustave is angry, his strength will become stronger and stronger, especially after losing his mind. He will completely lose control and fight only by his own instinct. Moreover, after losing control, kill and eat them all, regardless of whether they are enemies or friends. Then be a little more serious, just to try its resilience. A gleam flashed in Victor's eyes. Gustave senses a change in Victor. Is this guy using me as a test subject? Thinking of this, Gustave was furious. In the Zone Devil Fruit, all will reside. After Gustave awakened, he also activated the host's will. The Emperor Crocodile lodged in Gustave's body was no ordinary Emperor Crocodile. It's murderous. After awakening, Gustave will be affected by his will, cruel, bloodthirsty, and braver as he fights. Victor took a deep breath. Life returns 8 inner gates open. Victor took a lunge and adjusted his breathing, disengaging his brain domain. The tyrant strikes. Gustave attacked directly, his sharp claws grabbed Victor fiercely. Victor feinted and avoided Gustave's attack. When Gustave passed a position, he raised his foot and kicked with a side whip. Victor's whip kicked Gustave's forearm, and Gustave retreated dozens of meters after being kicked. When he retreated, his feet smashed the ground continuously, leaving huge pits on the ground. Moreover, before Gustave could stand still, Victor had already rushed forward. It is unbelievable that such a tall body of a titan can still have such a fast speed. Dive belly punch. Victor lowered his head to avoid Gustave's sharp claws, and at the same time, he punched Gustave hard, hitting Gustave in the stomach. Boom. The huge sonic boom shook everyone's eardrums, which showed how powerful this punch was. After Gustave's body was blown away, his body rolled continuously, plowing a gully several meters wide and tens of meters deep on the ground. It was not until Gustave smashed more than a dozen peaks that he barely stopped. Gustave stood up, he wrapped Conqueror's Hockey's sharp claws, and angrily grabbed around. Immediately, the rock wall of the mountain shattered into slag like tofu. Looking at Victor again, Victor hooked his fingers towards Gustave. Is this adding fuel to the fire? Still think Gustave is not angry enough? The color of Gustave's skin changed. It was originally gray like skin covered in cement, but now it turned dark red, clinging to his body like magma. Tyrant domain. Roar. The will lodged in Gustave's body completely affected Gustave's mind at this time. Seeing this, Victor raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a satisfied smile. That's how it should be. Boom boom boom. Gustave rushed to Victor. His eyes were red and his aura was frightening, like a demon. It was as if he was no longer human. Seeing this, Victor actually stood where he was, neither dodging nor evading. I saw the dazzling golden light from Titan's whole body. When Gustave rushed in front of him, Victor threw out his fist, and the golden light instantly swallowed up all the darkness around him. Boom. Accompanied by the deafening noise, the Marines and pirates on the entire island were temporarily blinded by the strong light. Wait for the golden light to dissipate. Marine and the pirates slowly opened their eyes. The Marines and pirates present were dumbfounded. I saw that Victor was still maintaining his punching posture. Right in front of Victor, a fan-shaped area appeared. This area is as big as several football fields. The stones, soil bags, and trees in the area have completely disappeared, and even the soil on the ground has disappeared to a depth of more than 3 meters. As if it never existed. Where's Gustave? Everyone on the island did not see Gustave. Look, I found him. At this time, a Marine found Gustav. Gustav was lying thousands of meters away. Gustav was just blown away. Victor's punch knocked Gustav back head-on. At this moment, Gustav fell to the ground, motionless, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. "Did you win?" a sailor asked his companion. "It should have won." Another sailor replied. "Has the boss been defeated?" "Impossible. How could the boss lose? Even if it's Roger, it's impossible to defeat the boss so easily." At this time, the pirates of the giant crocodile pirates began to waver, and their morale was severely hit. Cake, Guillaume and the others looked at Victor. Victor walked up step by step, as if he was going to give Gustav a final blow. When Victor came to Gustav's side, he raised his right arm. The right fist released a dazzling golden light again. Roar. Gustav suddenly let out a roar. Victor's observation hockey has seen the future. Gustav opened his mouth wide, trying to crush Victor's body in one bite. It is true that Gustav was severely injured, but he still had the strength to fight back. The will residing in Gustav's body is not only cruel, but also cunning. It waits for Victor to approach, then launches a sneak attack. At this time, Victor raised his right arm, which happened to block Gustav's bloody mouth, and let Gustav bite. Gustav's teeth wrapped around armament hockey. However, Victor is covered with armament hockey's skin, like a diamond. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't bite open a hole. "Do you know why Roger, Whitebeard didn't provoke you?" Victor said calmly. Gustav didn't respond at all. He is now completely driven by will and instinct. "Because it's a waste of time." Victor raised his right arm and fell hard to the ground. Gustav's body fell to the ground. Boom! Like a drumstick hitting a drum. The entire island was like an earthquake, and dozens of 1,000-meter-long, bottomless cracks appeared on the ground. Boom! 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 Then, Victor raised his fist. The left fist hit Gustav heavily. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches. Every heavy punch hit Gustav's head firmly, and Gustav bit Victor's body, refusing to let go. After blasting hundreds of punches in a row, Gustav just lost consciousness. This time, Gustav finally stopped moving. It's finally over. Victor exhaled lightly, disabling the return of life. Victor was visibly tired when he returned to his normal state. Returning life a 8 inner Gatisa opening the gate is already a heavy load on the body. In addition to the time when Victor and Gustav fought, it dragged on too long. Boom boom boom, the heartbeat was beating violently. The beating frequency is definitely more than 5,000 times per minute. Fortunately, he ate phantom beasts, and his physical strength was greatly enhanced. "Although I feel tired, I can continue to fight." However, he has to show fatigue, proving that he has consumed a lot. At this moment, Victor turned around and at the same time lifted Gustav's body above his head. "Long live Lord Victor! Long live Lord Victor! Long live Lord Victor!" All Marines in the Special Forces shouted. Bogda, Chi Noel and others looked desperate. Victor ordered, "Kill all the pirates." Oh! The Marines cheered and shouted at the same time, but one of them noticed that Victor's chest heaved violently, obviously very tired. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Sengoku's desktop is full of Koyama Taka's files. He is the only one in Admiral now. Therefore, his workload is very heavy. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this time, the phone bug on the desktop was calling. Sengoku picked up the microphone of the phone bug. At this moment, the phone bug imitated Victor's voice and said, "Sengoku Admiral, I have captured Gustav." Sengoku was taken aback. After a while, he realized, "You said you caught Gustav?" "Yes." After getting an affirmative answer from Victor, Sengoku was no longer in a daze, but was shocked, and then fell silent. Gustav's strength is not strong. However, on the sea, absolutely no pirate group would like to meet Gustav. Because Gustav is notoriously thick-skinned and very resistant to beatings. Not even Garp can beat him easily. Moreover, the worse Gustav was beaten, the angrier he would be, and the destructive power would increase accordingly. Marine tried to capture Gustav once, but in the end, it lost troops. Many of the Marines who participated in the arrest were eaten. After a moment of silence, Sengoku asked, "Did you catch it alone?" Victor replied, "Yes." "Yeah." Sengoku nodded and asked again, "Are you hurt?" Victor replied, "The right hand is injured and I can't move it temporarily." "Yeah." Sengoku nodded, "That's right, if it doesn't hurt, it's outrageous." However, Sengoku can confirm that Victor has become stronger again. Sengoku said, "I'll send someone to connect with you." After finishing the call, Sengoku started writing the report. Victor actually made another big news. 5 elders will be very satisfied with the efficiency of this crusade against pirates. A smile appeared on Sengoku's face. His layout of New World could be more radical. At the same time, inside the cabin, Victor held the wine glass in his right hand, and gently put down the microphone with his left hand. Holding the phone bug in his hand, Wright asked with a smile, "Senior, are you going to be promoted again this time?" They were even more excited than Victor, because if Victor gets promoted, they can follow suit. Although Wright and others follow Victor because of Victor's greatness and selflessness, why not do it if they can become stronger and get promoted? Moreover, Wright and the others were addicted to the happiness brought about by being promoted and becoming stronger. Victor said with a smile, "The rank of Vice Admiral is definitely inescapable." In fact, Victor is not very interested in the position of Commander of the Special Forces. Although the military rank is not low, and the degree of freedom is also very high, but there are too few soldiers under his command. Just taking advantage of this opportunity, Victor wanted to get a direct branch commander. "I don't know, which branch will it be arranged for? Is it G5 or G1? No matter where. World government and headquarters will definitely make full use of Victor's combat power. However, the birds are gone, the good bows are hidden, the cunning rabbits are dead, and the lackeys are cooking. What Victor wants is power, not authenticity. World government is working hard. Raising the bandits' self-respect is the kingly way." Victor caught the news of Gustav, and a week later, it was published in the newspaper. Gustav is not the same as the Red Earl. The Red Earl did not kill innocent people indiscriminately. And Gustav has destroyed many countries, and he has really eaten many people. In the grand line, if a child cries, the grown-ups just say, "Gustav will eat a crying child." Soon, the baby stopped crying. Therefore, when newspapers fly to all parts of the world with the newsbird, the news that Victor caught Gustav this time shocked the whole world. Gold Jackson. Rayleigh waved to newsbird. The newsbird landed on the side of the ship. Rayleigh paid 500 Baileys for a newspaper. When you see the headlines in the newspaper, Rayleigh's eyes widened. That surprised appearance naturally attracted everyone's attention. When the crew sailed at sea, the only way to get information was the newspaper delivered by the newsbird. "Mr. Rayleigh, what's the matter?" "Vice Captain." At this time, the crew gathered around and surrounded Rayleigh. Their eyes were all on the newspaper. Marine supernova. Rear Admiral Victor captures the man-eating crocodile Gustav alive and destroys the giant crocodile pirates. Is this guy so strong? Not long ago, didn't he just capture the Red Earl? Marine has produced an incredible guy. Is he really only 20 years old? I hope I don't meet him, otherwise it will be very troublesome. Could he be hunting the strong? The crew members of the Roger Pirates exclaimed and guessed one by one. After Victor entered New World, he has captured 3 big pirates. At this time, Roger came over, holding 2 wine bottles in his hand. Both Roger and Rayleigh leaned against the gunwale. Roger handed Rayleigh a bottle of wine, and Rayleigh took a sip of the wine. "Goo, Roger is drinking." Rayleigh breathed a sigh of relief. His eyes were serious, and he said, "My hunch is right. The situation in the sea is about to change." Roger laughed. Then, Roger raised his head, looked at the sky, and said, "It's okay, there's still enough time." Gordy Roger suffers from an incurable disease. So, he invited Crocus to board the ship as a ship's doctor, and Crocus agreed to Roger's invitation in order to find the whereabouts of the Rumba pirates. And he was implying that Victor would not affect his plans. Crocus came over to examine Roger. Bullet watched, frowning. Moby Dick. Whitebeard took his seat, a jug of wine in his hand. Goo, ku la la la. Whitebeard couldn't help laughing as he took a swig of his drink. Just now, Kozuki Oden's second team killed another group of traffickers, seized their treasures, and rescued the people on board. At this time, a newsbird flew over. Hey! Kozuki Oden waved at the newsbird while shouting. The newsbird flapped its wings and flew over. Kozuki Oden got the newspaper. Kozuki hugged Momonosuke and came over to pay. Kozuki Oden looked at the contents of the newspaper, then opened his mouth in surprise. Hello, Newgate. Kozuki Oden hurried over to Whitebeard's side. Whitebeard was listening to everyone telling stories. Seeing Kozuki Oden's startled look, he frowned and asked, "What's wrong?" The crocodile was caught. Kozuki Oden handed over the newspaper to Whitebeard. Whitebeard took the newspaper and looked at the front page. Gustav is under arrest. Whitebeard frowned. Gustav is strong and very durable. When Whitebeard met Gustav, he didn't want to bother him much. Marco came over with a solemn expression. Father, Gustav is the third. Sax came over and said worriedly. This guy named Victor, is he trying to catch all the big pirates in New World? Beasta, Joes and others also showed worried expressions. If Victor's goal is really to hunt the big pirates of New World, then Whitebeard will also be Victor's goal. Whitebeard saw the worry in the eyes of his sons, so he smiled and said, "Don't worry, as long as there is no conflict with Marine, everything will be fine." IWC, Cake Island. Inside the Cake Castle, Charlotte Linlin just finished reading today's newspaper. Paraspero, Daifuku, Owen and others all had worried expressions on their faces. 3 great pirates have been captured since Victor entered the New World. Victor's ability to capture the 3 big pirates proved that he was not weak, and it was not accidental. Who will be his target next? Whitebeard. Roger. Golden Lion. Still them. Katakuri folded his arms across his chest and remained silent. He had fought against Gustav, and although the time was short, he could be sure that Gustav was stronger than him. Mama. Charlotte Linlin said coldly, "What are you afraid of?" Just a Marine. Charlotte Linlin burned the newspaper in her hand directly. Linlin is right. Longbread had a serious face. As one of the founders of the Big O Pirates, he was qualified to remind everyone. Even if Victor is the same as Garp, there is no need to be afraid. Linlin is invincible, exclaimed the loaf. Yes, Mother is invincible. Mom is invincible. In the main hall, those teenage boys and girls echoed one by one. Mama. Charlotte Linlin sullenly said, however, "I have to admit that Marine is changing the pattern of New World little by little. In the past, Marine's presence in New World was not very high. Especially the era of the rocks. However, Victor's appearance changed the situation. Victor isn't Garp, but he's more of a threat than Garp." Beast Island. Kaido also obtained the news that Victor captured Gusta from the newspaper. Jhin had a mask on his face, so he couldn't see the expression on his face clearly. At this moment, Jhin said to Kaido, "Do you want to change places?" A fixed sight means that Marine can come directly to the door. Jhin escaped from the lab with Kaido, and didn't want to go back. Kaido raised his eyebrows when he heard this, and said disapprovingly, "If he dares to come to me, then I will kill him. Boss is invincible. Kill all Marines." Inside the cave, many cadres of the Beast's pirates drank and shouted. They are all drunk, and now they can't wait to find someone to have a fight with. Jhin didn't persuade. Kaido looked at Jhin. He knew that Jhin was worried, so he smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm very strong." Kaido is really strong. However, Victor's hunting behavior is disturbing. There are still quite a few pirates who have the same idea as Jhin. Oren pays attention to the newspaper every day, collecting all the news about Victor. Of course, Oren never missed any of the tasks assigned to him by Victor. However, Oren's target is not just the commander of the 189th branch. Oren also wanted more power. If subordinates want to climb up, they need to master 2 cores. One is loyalty and the other is performance. These 2 cores are indispensable. Oren is very good at coming. He asked his subordinates to recite Victor's teachings every day. Every day in the school field drills, I have to shout, "Long live Mr. Victor," and mold myself into a fanatical admirer of Victor. This kind of performance made him highly valued by Victor. However, this is not enough. His main task now is to make money for Victor. Moreover, The income of Wilhelm Port can no longer satisfy Oren. Oren set his sights on the neighboring kingdom of Arthur. The kingdom of Arthur is very rich, and the nobles there own tens of thousands of slaves, countless cattle and sheep, and a large amount of minerals. However, the kingdom of Arthur is a member country of the world government, and Oren can't just go for it. Need an excuse. Just what excuse should I use? Oren racked his brains. Oren learned everything from Victor. Moreover, what he learned is still superficial. Victor is doing well. In the eyes of 5 elders, the investment in Victor has already achieved excess returns. Make Victor a marine supernova to maximize Victor's intimidation. All forces in the world must have begun to pay attention to Victor's name. Some forces even began to fear Victor's existence. That's enough. So the 5 elders made a surprising decision. Sengoku came to the marshal's office. On the empty desk, there is a document. Let's take a look first. Sora handed the file to Sengoku. Sora said to Sengoku, the world government decided to appoint Victor as the commander of G1. After Sengoku read it, his expression was calm and he was not surprised. Let Victor be the commander of G1 to show Marine's deterrent power, which is also in line with our expectations. Kong said with emotion. Yeah, Victor's growth rate is not right. It is the surprises he brought to the world. There are too many. The 3 heroes of the same session are Victor, Sakazuki, and Pelusalino, known as the 3 monsters. Today, Victor has left Sakazuki and Pelusalino far behind. At the same time, Victor captured the 3 big pirates, the most dazzling supernova in Marine, and Megatron the world. Strike while the iron is hot. Raise Victor's rank and get Victor promoted to Vice Admiral. The youngest Vice Admiral in Marine history. Doris Rosa, Arena. King Liku entertained Victor with the grandest etiquette, and held the most exciting duel at the same time. After Victor handed Gustav to Nun Vice Admiral, he went to Doris Rosa for vacation. Doris Rosa has warm sunshine, all kinds of food, and hot beauties. Great for vacation. Blue blue, blue blue. When the phone bug was calling, Wright handed the phone bug to Victor. King Riku secretly glanced at Victor. Victor reached out and picked up the microphone. The phone bug imitated Sengoku's voice. Victor, congratulations on your promotion to Vice Admiral. At the same time, you have been appointed as the commander of the G1 branch and handed over to Boris Vice Admiral in a month. I see. Victor put down the microphone expressionlessly. Gion and Cake looked at Victor. Jaji muttered, you actually became the commander of G1. Gion smiled and said to Victor, congratulations, Victor. Congratulations to Victor Vice Admiral. King Liku, his wife, and the ministers of Doris Rosa also congratulated in unison. At this time, Eric, Kennard, Wright, Connor and others were all very excited. Because Victor's promotion to the commander of the G1 branch means that they have another chance to be promoted. After a few days, Sabaody Archipelago. At first it was business as usual when the latest newspaper was posted on the bulletin board. My God, I've been promoted again. Isn't this just promoted to Rear Admiral? Not just Vice Admiral, but Commander. Oh my God, that's 10,000 Marines in charge of the elite. There are more and more people watching the excitement. Not long ago, Victor captured Gustav and got rid of a demon for the world. Therefore, Victor's reputation is high. As a Marine supernova, it took less than a year from Colonel to Vice Admiral. At this time, in Shaki's ripoff bar, Shaki is also reading the newspaper. Marine is really shaping up to be a second Garp. Shaki murmured, I hope you don't run into him. She also has someone she cares about, and that person is now the common target of Marine and the pirates. Newspapers spread all over the world. Master Victor has been promoted to Vice Admiral. It's still the commander of the G1 branch. Oren held the newspaper, and his current mood can only be described as excitement. The commander of the G1 branch is the real power faction, who really controls the elite troops. Unlike most of the vice admirals in this department, they all seem to have the rank of vice admiral, but they don't actually have much real power. For example, the staff of the headquarters, Titan Vice Admiral and so on. These vice admirals have military ranks, but they have no right to speak. They basically have no say in the appointment of personnel in the headquarters. As for the commanders of the branches directly under the headquarters, when they go to the headquarters for meetings, they all have the right to speak. At this time, Oren excitedly picked up the pen and began to write his open source plan on the letter paper, hoping to make more money for Victor. In Branch 191, Colonel Marta was equally agitated. Fleet Admiral of the 6th Branch, maybe this position can be won. His loyalty to Lord Victor will never forget. A month later, Boris Vice Admiral and others were ordered to be transferred back to the headquarters to report on their work. For them, it's not bad news. To be precise, for the generals of the G1 branch, it is a lucky thing to be able to return to the headquarters to report on their work. At this time, Boris Vice Admiral is handing over to Victor. Victor, you're doing great. Relieved, Boris Vice Admiral put his hands on Victor's shoulders. I'll keep trying, Victor said. Well, I'll leave it to you here. After Boris Vice Admiral and others handed over, they boarded the warship directly and left the G1 branch. Victor was in the military port, watching Boris and others leave. When the warship that Boris and the others were on disappeared from sight, Victor said to everyone, "From now on, enter the first-level combat readiness state." Guion and Cake were confused. Deputy Commander Cliff was also puzzled. The new official took office with 3 fires. Victor was just expressing himself. He wants to make New World go crazy and show his iron-blooded skills to the outside world. The state of first-level combat readiness means that during the period of combat readiness, one must be ready for combat at any time. During this period, all recreational activities are prohibited. For the sailors of the G1 branch, this is definitely not good news. In the camp area of AA the G1 branch, when the day's training is over, the sailors drag their tired bodies and want to go back to the barracks to rest. But they found that outside the barracks, there was already a team of inspectors checking. The inspector team of the G1 branch has been replaced. Victor transitioned from Secret Service to Inspectorate. The first task of the inspection team is to inspect the combat readiness of the G1 branch. During the preparation period, if Marine is found to be slack, he will be educated immediately. Members of the inspection team walked into the barracks and left the barracks after a simple inspection. After the inspection team left, the sailors breathed a sigh of relief. If they are caught drinking and gambling by the inspection team, they will be miserable. Not just grassroots soldiers. The officers of the G1 branch are no exception. The inspectorate also supervises the officers. This made the officers tense up. They dare not have any contempt for the new commander. Because once they violate the military regulations, they will cause big trouble. The 10th day of the first level of combat readiness. Guion came to Victor's office and asked Victor, "Is it really okay to continue to maintain the first level of combat readiness?" Victor replied with a smile, "I am the commander here, of course it's no problem." Jia muttered, "What are you trying to do?" The officers of the G1 branch will be afraid of Victor, but Jia is not afraid. Anyway, he doesn't plan to stay in the G1 branch for a long time. Moreover, Guion won't stay in the G1 branch for long. Because the headquarters will transfer them back after a while. Of course it's for justice. Victor said seriously. I don't believe it. Jia said disapprovingly. At this time, Wright walked in, with an extra document in his hand. The report, the intelligence of the New World Underground Forces, have all been sorted out. Wright put the information in front of Victor. This data is collected by Marine. Although there is a lot of information, it is certainly not comprehensive. After all, Marine is not CP0, and is not a professional in intelligence. Victor looked through the intelligence and documents, and found a person's name. Cake and Guion leaned over their heads and looked at the table. Warcraft Kali, the king of the New World black market. Are you going to find him? Guion asked. However, he doesn't seem to be wanted, Jia muttered. The black market has always been a gray area. Marine also buys intelligence from the black market. Pirates are no exception. Victor has been in close contact with South Blue's black market since his time at South Blue. Talk to them. Victor said with a smile. Salad Island, this is the most neutral island in New World. Marines can come to this island, and so can pirates. Of course, the prerequisite for Marine to come to this island is to avoid disputes and conflicts. Otherwise, the island and New World's black market will not welcome or do marine business. In the same way, pirates who come to this island must also abide by this rule. Otherwise, they will also be blacklisted, and the black market will no longer do their business. As the king of the New World black market, Warcraft Carey's daily life is very comfortable. He likes chaos, but he also likes order. Chaos brings fortune, and order gives him some mastery. For example, in Saladay Island, he is order, and what he says is everything. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this time, the phone bug kept calling. Carey picked up the phone. What's wrong? Master Carey, a marine is coming. A cadre reported. Carey said disapprovingly. Marine is also a guest, so don't make a fuss. How many of New World's underground forces have not received business from the world government? CP0 is a regular here. Therefore, Carey didn't panic about Marine at all. What's more, Carey also sent Celestial Dragons heavenly gold. Here comes Victor Vice Admiral, said the officer. Victor? The new commander of the G1 branch? Carey was taken aback when he heard the words, and then said to the cadre, go and bring him to see me. Since it is a big customer, it is natural not to be negligent. At this time, 5 warships arrived at the pier on Salad Island. Victor boarded the pier with Guion, Cake and other brigade marine. At this time, there were no pirate ships moored at the pier. The black market has its rules. All ships cannot directly enter the black market. This is the rule. Of course, Marine and CP0 are exceptions. At this time, Victor took the brigade marine and swaggered into the black market. The black market is not a vegetable market. It's a bit like a bank here. Behind each window, there are tellers serving. At this time, some people were buying guns, and some were buying naval guns. Guion, Cake and the others were eye-opening. In addition to arms, medicines, food, and clothes, you can also hire killers, buy intelligence, buy and sell people, and so on. Victor Vice Admiral, this way please. A man wearing a blindfold came to Victor. At the invitation of the man, Victor came to the building in the center of the island. The building is a castle. As the drawbridge was lowered and the city gate opened, Victor and others entered the castle. This way please. The blindfolded man took Victor up the elevator. The castle is 7 stories high, comparable to a fortress. In the castle, there are 3 steps for one post and 5 steps for one post. There are many security guards in the black market. Finally, the blindfolded man leads Victor to a house. The blindfolded man pushed away from the room. Victor saw everything in the room. I saw a tall man sitting in a huge room. The man is Warcraft Carey. Ha 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 ha. Carey said to Victor with a smile. I didn't expect to see Victor Vice Admiral so soon. Victor walked in with Guion, Cake and others. Seeing that Victor didn't say hello to him, Carey felt that Victor was a bit impolite, so he turned cold and said, I don't know what business Mr. Victor is here for. Victor said, the black market will be included in the scope of Marine's supervision in the future. Carey's face was full of question marks, and then he laughed loudly. Victor Vice Admiral, do you know where this is? After laughing for a while, Carey looked at Victor seriously. This is a neutral zone recognized by the world government. Victor said, that was before I came, and now I inform you that this place has been put under supervision. From then on, any shopping list here must be handed over to Marine. Please leave, you are not welcome here. Carey snorted softly. Protecting the information of customers is the purpose of the black market. What if I don't leave? Victor asked with a smile. Carey looked at Victor, then clenched his fists and said with a grin, it seems that you don't quite understand my horror. Hearing this, Victor said blankly, I'm also curious, how strong is Warcraft Carey? Boy, you will regret offending me. Carey is 7 meters tall, much taller than Victor. Come and try. Victor hooked his hand towards Carey. At this point, Carey stood up, raised his hand, and punched Victor. Instead of ducking, Victor raised his hand and blocked Carey's fist with one. At this time, the black market cadres inside and outside the room were also taken aback, because they knew how terrifying Carey's power was. Even Sea Kings, Carey can tear them apart with his bare hands. Carey was also surprised. Although he expected Victor to be strong, He didn't expect Victor to block his punch so easily. Accident. Vic said quietly. It's just blocking a punch, don't be too arrogant, bastard. Although Carrie was shocked by Victor's power, he was the king of the black market, the absolute ruler of the city, and he was not weaker than Marine Admiral. At least he thought so. Victor said, I will give you another chance, if you can obey my order, then I can guarantee your business as usual. Victor's words made Carrie's fist stop suddenly. Before Carrie could react, Victor warned again, if you continue to refuse, then you may be very embarrassed and even die. I should tell you this sentence, brat. While Carrie was speaking, he had thrown dozens of punches in a row. Each punch carried enough destructive power to crush a warship. However, Victor dodged so easily that Carrie didn't even touch Victor's shirt. Boom boom boom. Although the floor of the fortress was solid, Carrie possessed no less strength than Admiral, so under his fierce attack, he smashed a hole in the floor of the office. What's wrong? What's the movement? It looks like something has fallen. Go and see. The surrounding security guards immediately ran over. Just then, Victor stood in front of Carrie. Die. Carrie's fists blasted out. At this time, Victor was moving fast, leaving only shadows in front of everyone's eyes. Behind. Do not. Overhead. Callie's observation hockey locked onto Winktor, who quickly raised his hand. Finger pistol fort cannon. Victor's finger pistol is as powerful as a fortress cannon. Concentrate the body's armament hockey on one point and release it. Boom. Carrie was hit head-on and was blasted out on the spot. However, Carrie was not injured, he just blocked it. At this point, Carrie glared at Victor, his armament hockey covering him. Although covering the whole body with armament hockey will cause a lot of damage to Carrie, Victor is faster than him. He has to be as defensive as possible. Not bad. Victor disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Carrie. Victor leapt into the air and swept towards Carrie with his whipped leg, but Carrie raised his arm to block it. However, the ground under Carrie's feet was shattered due to unloading. This guy has so much strength. Carrie was horrified, and had a better understanding of Victor's strength. However, he can't give in. Victor did not continue to attack Carrie, but said coldly, surrender, you can't beat me. If you die here, then I will be troubled too. The black market is also one of the sources of intelligence for CP0 and Marine. If Carrie dies, it will make the black market leaderless in a short time. Even, Saladi's black market may be disbanded. Surrender. Do you think I only have this little strength? Carrie said coldly that he would not admit defeat. Victor shook his head and said regretfully, not surrendering. What a fool. Shut up, you bastard, I will deal with you hard. Carrie's eyes were full of murderous intent. Qiwuhai noticed something was wrong and immediately reminded Victor, be careful with his devil fruit ability. As the king of the New World black market, Carrie also relies on his own strength and deterrence to dominate one side. It holds a very scary devil fruit. This devil fruit is the fruit of paramecia decay. Any creature touched by Carrie will age rapidly, as if the body's moisture was drained, until the skin was completely withered and turned into skin and bones. Carrie's ability scares countless people. Little devil, if you apologize to me now, then you can leave here decently, otherwise you will be like him. Carrie pointed to a security guard who was hiding in the distance, and then he suddenly disappeared in place. At this moment, Carrie's palm glowed with a purple-black light. He held the guard's head down. The body of the security guard has changed. His body began to shrink, and his healthy skin also became dull, and the reddish hair became as black as charcoal. In the end, the security guard turned into a charred black corpse. This ability is somewhat similar to childlike fruit. As long as it is touched, it is finished. Victor looked at the dead security guard and murmured, it's a scare ability. Carrie said coldly, what? Do you think I'm scaring you? Isn't it? Victor said with a smile, you will regret this. Carrie disappears again, he also uses shave, and also Grandmaster. However, Victor is faster than Carrie. Where? Behind me, left, right, front. Carrie tried to lock on to Victor's position with his observation hockey, but Victor was moving so fast that even though he had locked on to the anticipation, he simply couldn't keep up. Want not to touch me? You're so naive, boy. Suddenly, the pores of Carrie's body sprayed out a large amount of liquid. The purple-black liquid sprayed in all directions, and there was nowhere to hide. The surrounding security guards were stained with blood, and they didn't even have a chance to react. The skin on their bodies was as dry as a withered grass. Gradually, it turned into a piece of dry bark, and the whole person fell to the ground, out of breath, and turned into mummified corpses. This is the price for angering me, brat. Carrie snorted. Then he turned to look at the body on the ground, and snorted because Victor had nowhere to hide in the environment. Now, like everyone else, he has become a mummy. Just as Carrie was about to turn to leave, he heard Victor's voice behind him. Where are you going? Victor asked with a smile. Carrie thought in horror. He didn't understand why Victor was able to hide. Tempest kick a crescent sky rush. At this time, Victor kicked out a white slash and flew towards Carrie. What? Carrie screamed. Gion and the others looked down and saw that the white crescent slash kicked by Victor cut off Carrie's left arm. Ah! Carrie's right hand was clutching his broken left arm, and the pain of the broken arm made his face hideous. Hearing Carrie's screams, Victor took out the cigarette calmly and did not continue to attack. He didn't intend to kill Carrie. Existence is reasonable. In the world of One Piece, any power has its meaning of existence. For example, pirates. If there were no pirates in the world, then no country would need the protection of the world government, and there would be no need to pay the heavenly money. As for the black market, it can also bring benefits to the world government. At this time, Gion, Cake and others went downstairs to join Victor. What should we do next? Gion glanced at Carrie and asked Victor. What to do? Victor said casually. Gion was stunned. She thought Victor would take new actions later. Starting today, if you want to continue doing business in New World, then establish a good relationship with me. Also, give me the list of clients in recent months. Victor said to Carrie, and then he left the castle with the people. Asshole. Carrie watched Victor leave. Although he was very angry, he had no intention of sneaking up. He can't beat Victor, and if he fights again, he will bring shame on himself. Just walked outside the castle. Right? Asked Victor curiously. Senior, how did you avoid his liquid just now? Connor and others were also curious. They clearly saw the liquid sprayed at Victor. Those security guards didn't escape the liquid just now, and they all turned into charred corpses. Without waiting for Victor to answer, Jiaji said disapprovingly, it's not difficult, just use armament hockey to bounce it away. There was no need for Wright, Connor and others to continue asking questions. Jiaji raised his hand and released Connor, Wright and others. I saw him throwing a handkerchief, and then, with his hand in the direction of the handkerchief, he released armament hockey. The handkerchief was blown away. This is the release of armament hockey. It can be used both defensively and offensively. Therefore, in Victor's eyes, Carrie's devil fruit ability is just a scare. It's like the childlike fruit of granulated sugar. As long as you know the characteristics of Granu's abilities, you can easily defeat her. Armament hockey. Wright, Connor and others also wanted to practice armament hockey early. Victor saw their reactions and knew what they were thinking. He patted the heads of the two and said, first lay the foundation of the body, and then it will not be too late to practice hockey. Yes, senior. Wright and Connor replied at the same time. Just as Victor and the others left, a man in a white suit and a white clown mask walked over. The man looked at Carrie, who was lying on the ground. Pain was written all over Carrie's face. Is this how you treat your friends? Gritting his teeth, Carrie asked viciously. The clown man is CP0, the world government sent him to station in the black market, and his task is to collect intelligence. Of course, his relationship with Carrie is not bad. This has nothing to do with us, the masked man clarified. Bastards, you're all a bunch of sons of bitches. Carrie continued to curse. The clown man sighed, and then took out the phone bug. He wanted to report what happened here to his superiors. He has a headache now. People like Victor will affect his normal work. Blue blue. Blue blue. The phone on the empty desk buzzed. Kong picked up the microphone. The phone bug imitates the voice of a Marine. Marshal, just got the news that Victor Vice Admiral attacked the black market in Salati and cut off Carrie's left hand. After listening to Sora, he put down the phone bug. When Victor went to find Carrie, Sora received the report. Although Victor is the commander of the G1 branch, he has certain decision-making powers. However, this is too messy. Although Warcraft Carrie is not a good thing, but has always been good. At least the cooperation with Marine and World Government is still very harmonious. Why bother with him? Of course, it would be easy for Victor to accuse Carrion if he wanted to. In Victor's way, everything can be rationalized. At this time, Sengoku walked into the office. Is something wrong? Sengoku asked Sora. Sora motioned for Sengoku to sit down first, before Sora said, Victor attacked the Salati black market and cut off Carrie's hand. Sengoku couldn't help sighing after hearing this, although I knew it would happen, he was too aggressive. In Sengoku's view, Victor's purpose of gaining power and wealth is to implement a radical, just line. The money was used to pay Marine a pension. Power allows him to have more room for free movement. Now that Victor has power, it's natural to start acting. If you let him stay in New World. Sora rubbed his forehead, maybe it will be a headache for everyone. It's not something we should think about. Sengoku originally wanted Victor to take it easy. Although Victor is a genius, it is still a little inappropriate to be promoted too fast and gain too much real power. Sengoku wanted Victor to practice more. Maybe, let the 5 elders think about it. They'll have a headache, too. Sora had a wry smile on his face. Mariajoy, Pangu City. Between powers. The 5 elders got the message earlier. Is Victor this guy too hardworking? Although he is indeed very obedient, his resentment towards the pirates really cannot be diluted. If he is left alone, it will also disrupt our layout in New World. Then what can we do? He has just become the commander of G1. Arrange something for him to do, at least not let him be idle. Let him go after Roger, or let him hunt the Golden Lion. Well, let's arrange it like this. The 5 elders started talking. Although the world government withdrew from New World, the world government is still secretly controlling New World in other ways. Warcraft Carrie is also one of the puppets of the world government. Although Carrie has a so-called principle that protects customers' information from being leaked, 5 elders is not interested in those customers most of the time. Because those clients have already placed undercover agents from the world government. Blue blue. The phone in Victor's office rang. Victor picked up the microphone. Victor. The phone bug mimicked Sora's voice. Marshal. What's the matter? Victor asked. Kong sighed and said, I know you want to wipe out all the pirates, but there are some things that you can't be too anxious about. Victor's dream of purifying the ocean has long been known to all. Therefore, Victor needs power and wealth. Sora couldn't deny Victor's motives. It's just that Victor's justice is too radical. It is not currently in line with the strategy set by the world government. I see what you mean. Victor didn't show any emotion. Kong said, pay more attention to Roger and Golden Lion, which is also the meaning of 5 elders. Yes. Victor ended the call, and then asked Wright to convey the order to lift the first-level combat readiness order. Have you heard? Victor Vice Admiral's operation has been terminated. It must be restricted, and it will cause big things as soon as it comes. If you really do what Victor Vice Admiral wants to do, then the New World will really be messed up. After the first-level combat readiness order was lifted, the Marines of the G1 branch were relieved. At this time, they gathered together and chatted. During the war preparation period, their nerves were tense every day, and they could not eat or sleep peacefully. There are also dozens of inspections by the inspection team a day, so that the officers and sailors of the G1 branch are not even allowed to chat. However, when Victor led someone to cut off one of Carrie's hands and asked Carrie to hand over the black market client list, the Marines in the G1 branch all understood Victor's intentions. Victor wants to do something to all the pirates. Pirates' guns and artillery, a small part rely on robbing, most of them need to be bought on the black market. Therefore, as long as you find the list of customers, as well as the delivery time, place, date, etc., you can find out the location of the pirate. Victor wasn't messing with them on purpose, but really wanted to clean up those pirates. It's a pity. If Victor Vice Admiral can really succeed, it will definitely be a good thing. At this time, a sailor said with emotion, This sailor is called West. His hometown was destroyed by pirates, and his parents and sister were killed by pirates. Therefore, he has a deep hatred with the pirates. If it really can purify the sea, then he is willing to join it and follow Victor's command. Gion and Cake were brought back to Naval Headquarters. Naval Headquarters really lacks combat power. At the same time, staying with Gion and Cake will give Victor more room to play. Whether it is the Five Elders, Sora, Sengoku, etc., they all only hope that Victor will act as a deterrent, like a nail stuck in New World, making the big pirates in New World uncomfortable. At this time, inside the G5 branch, Paluzolino was reading a newspaper. Most of the news in the newspapers these days is about new pirates who have just debuted. The big pirates have not been very active recently. Have you heard? Senior Victor has been admonished. What happened? Senior Victor wanted to purify New World, but his plan was rejected by the headquarters. Really? Where did you hear the news from? Just heard from Matt Rear Admiral. 2 military cadets who graduated this year and have now been promoted to lieutenant junior grade are talking about Victor being educated. The admonishment is a recent rumor. As for whether it exists, it is all hearsay and hearsay. However, the G1 branch did cancel the first level of combat readiness, which is a fact. Paluzolino continued to read the newspaper while drinking his coffee. Compared with Victor, he is much more low-key. At this time, Sakazuki was sitting in the restaurant, eating lunch in silence. Ghost Spider chatted with Doberman. I didn't expect Victor to come for real. I really underestimated him. Ghost Spider and Doberman don't expect Victor to attack the black market. Of course, the black market is indeed a place of evil. Pirates will send their loot to the black market for sale, and they will also buy arms and even devil fruit from the black market. Victor started from the black market, and he can really make a big difference. Akainu was silent. He was not disgusted with Victor's behavior. On the contrary, he still admires Victor a little. Be brave. Pity, Naval Headquarters is so cowardly. Sakazuki, it would be great if we could have the power to make decisions. The Ghost Spider said with emotion. Yes, there are too many incompetent people in this department. Doberman echoed. At this time, Huashaoshan and the others looked at Ghost Spider and the others. Keep your voice down so they don't hear you. Ghost Spider reminder and Doberman. The incompetent people they talk about are the current rulers of the headquarters. Those who can mobilize their Vice Admiral, Admiral, Marshal. Although they had performed quite a few missions during their stay at the G5 branch, they were completely useless to the New World pirates. If you want to purify New World, you must declare war on New World. Sakazuki picked up the plate and left. Huashaoshan and the others looked at Saji. Sakazuki has been silent lately, like an extinct volcano. The senior is in a good mood recently. Right? Asked Connor carefully. Not good or bad, Connor replied. I really hope that the senior can become a marshal sooner, so that he will have autonomy. Wright's thinking is the same as Akainu's now. They all believed that being the marshal of the Marine would determine the strategic direction of the Marine. At this point, Victor is writing a reply. Oren wrote him a letter. Oren mentioned in the letter that he wanted Arthur's kingdom to also donate. It's just that Oren doesn't know how to start. Kingdom of Arthur is a member country of world government. There's no way Marine would openly go in and get ripped off. In the letter, Victor encouraged and supported Oren. As for the solution? Victor didn't even mention it. Victor just told Oren that he believed in Oren's ability and would be able to solve any difficulties. Connor, Victor called to the door. Connor walked over. Victor said, go and reply to Colonel Oren. Yes. Connor took the letter and left. Fax sent to 189 branch. Oren read Victor's reply with a smile on his face. Sir, has Master Victor given a method? The adjutant next to Oren asked. This letter is enough. Oren laughed loudly, and then said to the adjutant, go and send invitations to the nobles of Kingdom Arthur. Yes. The adjutant turned to execute. With Master Victor supporting me, I don't have to worry about it. Oren smoked, feeling elated. Although Victor did not reply with any method, he has already made a reply. Victor means, no matter what you do, I will support you. Because there is no objection in the reply. If there is no objection, it is in favor. Oren planned to do the ceremony first and then the soldiers. He first invited the nobles of the Kingdom of Arthur to a banquet and asked them for money at the banquet. Of course, if these nobles don't want to give money, then he has ways to deal with them. Moreover, the consequences of rejecting him will need to be borne by the entire Kingdom of Arthur. Early the next morning, Oren sent his men to the Kingdom of Arthur and invited all the nobles, officials and businessmen to the banquet. The nobles, officials and businessmen of the Kingdom of Arthur were at a loss. The Kingdom of Arthur is a member of the world government, and pays tribute to the celestial dragons every year. Therefore, there is no need to deliberately please Marine. What's more, it's just a colonel of the South Blue Branch. Even, to enter the territory of the Kingdom of Arthur, Marine needs to greet the Kingdom of Arthur first. Therefore, the nobles, officials, and businessmen of the Kingdom of Arthur were not very interested in this invitation. Some sent their own butlers, and some didn't even take it seriously. Oren didn't mind, though, because he had a surprise ready. Under the night, several ships with black skull flags were quietly approaching the coastline of Arthur Kingdom. At this time, the pirates on the ship all gathered together. Although they are dressed like pirates, they stand up straight like Marines. To set fires, to cause explosions and panic, to loot things, you understand? Yes. Master Victor Hoon is looking forward to good news from us, so even if you are caught, don't be afraid, just keep silent. Yes. Action. Oren ended this impromptu battle meeting. He then donned a white wig to stand out even more from the crowd. Then, he put a blindfold on his right eye, and then took off his shirt, with necklaces all over his neck and gold rings on his hands, looking like a pirate. Brothers, grab this place for me. Kill. Under the command of the captain, under the cover of night, nearly 1,000 pirates rushed into Fast Harbor in the Kingdom of Arthur. They beat anyone they saw, and set fires everywhere. Rushing into the room, looting property everywhere. Soon, thick smoke rose from the port, on fire. On fire. At the same time, the shells of the pirate ship began to fire, and the entire harbor was quickly caught on fire under the attack of the shells. Smoke rose. The whole city was thrown into panic. The merchants, nobles, and officials in the town are neither deaf nor blind, and they are well aware of what is going on outside. Now the streets are in chaos, full of fleeing people. What's going on? How could we be attacked by pirates? A businessman can't believe his eyes. They are members of the world government, and pirates generally don't attack them. Because once the pirates attack, they will be hunted down by Marine. What's more, the Kingdom of Arthur also has a kingdom army, which can defend the territory. Go and contact General Hammond. At the same time, Earl Reinhardt of Fast Harbor called his servant and asked him to contact the garrison 50 kilometers away. Nearly 20,000 Royal Army can definitely wipe out all the pirates with the momentum of thunder. Of course, Earl Reinhardt also contacted Marine just to be sure. At this time, the sound of gunshots and screams became clearer and clearer, which meant that the pirates were getting closer to Earl Reinhardt's mansion. Go get everyone together. The situation was critical, but Earl Reinhardt still tried to calm down. He hoped to organize the army of the entire city, as well as the nobles' private armed forces. He also wants the businessman to call in his own bodyguards. As long as it can be organized, it is also a force that cannot be underestimated. However, merchants and nobles only cared about their belongings and their own safety. How could they let the guards around them protect the entire city? At this time, the pirates invaded the entire city very smoothly, and they clashed with the defenders in the city. However, pirates have more advanced weapons and equipment than defenders. Soon, the street defense line composed of nearly 1,000 defenders was instantly broken. These pirates are well-trained Marines who are better at fighting. Fire. Fire. Some pirates climbed to the top of the building, condescending, and bombarded from a height, as if they were in an uninhabited land. The defenders fled in all directions. Nobles, merchants, and officials each tried to escape from the town under the protection of guards and private troops. When the royal army came to Fastport, the fire in Fastport was still burning. The whole city has just been ransacked. Aristocrats, officials, businessmen, and ordinary people are all like frightened birds, they are frightened. Fortunately, that group of pirates did not hunt them down. It just looted the shops in the street, robbed more property in the houses, and burned some warehouses. General Hammond brought 5,000 men. However, these 5,000 people are all soldiers and infantry. The pirate has escaped. It is useless for these 5,000 people to stay in Fast Harbor. Fast Port also has to bear the problems of eating, drinking and sleeping for 5,000 people. By noon, the warship of the Marine 189 branch arrived at Fast Port. This made Earl Reinhardt a little dissatisfied. Because before Colonel Malone died, Marine only needed 3 hours to reach Fast Port. Oren has returned to his usual attire. Do you know the identity of the attacker? Oren asked Count Reinhardt. Earl Reinhardt shook his head and said, "It's too dark. I only saw a purple skull on their pirate flag." Purple skull? Oren hummed and asked the adjutant to record the messages. Besides that, is there anything else? Oren continued to ask. Earl Reinhardt shook his head. After the pirates attacked, he ran away with his people. Although he also thought about organizing a counterattack, everyone was running, and the idea was just an idea. Well, we will investigate and we will give you news after the results are out. After Oren finished speaking, he was about to leave. Colonel Oren. Earl Reinhardt hurriedly stopped Oren. Is there anything else? Oren asked, frowning. Is it okay? Earl Reinhardt was in a hurry. He said to Oren. What if the pirates attack again? Oren replied. We will do our best to hunt them down and keep you safe. These are all pretty words. Count Reinhardt thought for a while and said, Colonel Oren, can you send some troops to station in Fast Harbor? Oren shook his head, but did not accept Count Reinhardt's request. Oren replied. The Kingdom of Arthur is a member country of the world government, and Fast Port is not the territory of the world government. We have no right to be stationed here. Before Reinhardt could speak again, Oren turned around and boarded the warship. Watching the Marines leave, Earl Reinhardt was anxious and helpless. At this time, the steward Florence reminded, Sir, Earl Thompson of Port Wilhelm is your good friend. I heard that Earl Thompson has a good relationship with Colonel Oren. Maybe you can contact him. Let Earl Thompson come and talk. Earl Reinhardt also felt reasonable when he heard the words. Earl Reinhardt sent a fax to Earl Thompson, hoping that Earl Thompson could help him think of a way. Pirates attack the Kingdom of Arthur. As long as there is the first time, there will be the second and third time. Moreover, the fact that the mysterious pirate group that attacked Arthur's kingdom was not caught will give more pirates ideas. Therefore, Count Reinhardt desperately needs Marine. Earl Thompson quickly responded. After seeing Earl Thompson's reply fax, Reinhardt suddenly realized. So I wanted money. Earl Reinhardt never thought that Marine would cheat. In the past, Colonel Malone of Section 189 never asked for money. Oren, however, is markedly different from Malone. At this time, the butler reminded, Master, Colonel Oren invited you to Wilhelm Port a few days ago. You were not free at the time, so you sent other people there. What do you mean by that? Earl Reinhardt was taken aback. The butler lowered his voice and said, Sir, is there a possibility that the invitation to the banquet and the attack on Fast Harbor are actually related? Earl Reinhardt held his breath and paced back and forth. The butler's words woke him up. Maybe there is a connection. If it is really related, then the purpose is for money. Reinhardt couldn't help but frowned. As a nobleman, he had seen countless people. It's just that first didn't meet Marine who would come to rip me off. However, now it is met. Earl Reinhardt said, Prepare the carriage, I'll go back to the capital. Earl Reinhardt's big brother is Duke Richard. Duke Richard is the heir to the Kingdom of Arthur, and he has the right to speak in the kingdom. That night, Earl Reinhardt rushed back to the capital and met Duke Richard. Has the matter of Fast Harbor been resolved? Duke Richard asked. Fast Harbor is the fief of Earl Reinhardt. Therefore, when the pirates attacked Fast Harbor, Earl Reinhardt would think about fighting back instead of just thinking about running away like other nobles and wealthy businessmen. Earl Reinhardt replied, This attack may not have been done by pirates. Not a pirate? Who could it be? Duke Richard asked curiously. Earl Reinhardt said, First guess Marine is pretending. What did you say? Duke Richard was taken aback after hearing this, and then he hurriedly shook his head. Don't talk nonsense, we are a member of the world government, how could Marine attack us? Earl Reinhardt said, I don't have any evidence now, but this incident is too coincidental. What coincidence? Duke Richard asked. That's right. Count Reinhardt informed Duke Richard of Oren's invitation to them. Upon hearing this, Duke Richard replied, Indeed, Colonel Oren invited me, but I didn't go either. Earl Reinhardt said, I heard that except for some merchants, nobles and officials, almost no one in our kingdom of Arthur attended. Because we didn't go, Oren couldn't receive the money, so he sent people to attack Fast Port? Duke Richard understood Reinhardt's thinking logic. Earl Reinhardt said, Yes, so what can be done at present is either to report the situation to the world government, or to invite Colonel Oren to the banquet and invite him in the name of the kingdom of Arthur. The implication is, either fight back or obey. A mere branch colonel. Duke Richard snorted coldly, and then said to Marquis Reinhardt, Let's go to the king and tell us about it. How could Duke Richard, as the Duke of a member country of the world government, allow a branch colonel to be ripped off? If this matter gets out, the kingdom of Arthur will become the laughing stock of the world. Duke Richard and Earl Reinhardt came to the palace. The current king, Bronn II, is the big brother of Duke Richard. However, Bronn II was not in good health and had no heirs. Therefore, upon the death of Bronn II, Duke Richard will inherit the throne. It is precisely because he wants to inherit the throne that Duke Richard needs a tough attitude. Otherwise, after the citizens learn that the entire kingdom has been blackmailed, how will he rule the country in the future? Cough, cough, cough. Bronn II was bedridden, and his health was getting worse day by day. Your Majesty. Duke Richard was about to speak. At this time, the Queen shook her head at Duke Richard. He can't talk to you now. Okay. After listening, Duke Richard informed the Queen about Fast Harbor and Marine. After listening to the Queen, she said, Our kingdom of Arthur is a member country of the world government, and it really cannot be the same as Port of Wilhelm. I'm going to send a fax to the world government expressing our protest, Duke Richard said. Yeah. The Queen nodded, although there is no evidence, these Marines can be warned. How dare Marine, a branch of South Blue, dare to take money? I really don't know what to do. After obtaining the Queen's consent, Duke Richard sent a fax to the world government. Of course, Duke Richard did not explicitly say that Branch 189 was blackmailing and asking for money. He mentioned the matter of Port Wilhelm, representing that Branch 189 has a criminal record in Port Wilhelm. Moreover, all the coincidences were mentioned again. As long as the world government is not blind, it will definitely be understood. Holy Land, Mariajoy, Pangu City, between the powers. A fax from Duke Richard was handed over to the 5 elders. In fact, the member countries of the world government often raise some dissatisfaction. The 5 elders know it all. Dealing with the affairs of the franchise countries is also one of their daily tasks. Cabinet 189. Colonel Oren. After the old man with glasses looked at the contents of the fax, he lost interest. In his eyes, these are trivial matters. However, a mere branch colonel dared to blackmail a member country of the world government. That's kind of interesting. At this time, the white-haired old man said, It has been investigated, and Oren is Victor's subordinate. He can be the colonel of the 189 branch, and he is also recommended by Victor. Thinking about it, wasn't Victor the cause of the Port of Wilhelm incident? Is that going to be dealt with? If this kind of thing is really dealt with, the world government will lose face. But if you don't care, the member states will have more opinions. Then let them produce evidence. Yes, it can be dealt with if there is evidence, otherwise there are too many such things. The 5 elders all had smiles on their faces. If Oren was an ordinary branch colonel, they'd take care of it. However, Oren happened to be Victor's man. Victor is a marine supernova that 5 elders focuses on training. With Victor's character, Oren will definitely be saved. The old man with glasses said, Let CP4 investigate. Garner is the commander of CP4, and he is the most adaptable person. CP and Marine are 2 departments of world government, which belong to 2 systems. Marine is the facade of the world government, belonging to the bright side. CP is the cipher pole directly under the world government, and it belongs to the dark place. Therefore, it is unreasonable for CP4 to investigate Oren's case. However, Allowing CP4 to investigate can also reflect the importance the world government attaches to it. In this way, the mouths of allied countries can be blocked. After all, CP and Marine are not in the same system, and there is no suspicion of covering up. Really, I was actually asked to investigate such a boring case. A warship without a hull number was parked in Fast Harbor. On the left side of the ship, a man in a black and white striped suit with an oiled hair was complaining. After the warship docked, the man stepped arbitrarily off the ship with steps that his relatives would not recognize. The man's name is Garner, the chief executive of CP4. Behind Garner, followed by 100 agents. This is Garner's style of doing things. No matter where he goes, there are hundreds of people around him. In this way, it not only looks imposing on the road, but also, with so many people following, it is safe everywhere. Count Reinhardt waited for Garner on the dock. Garner came to Earl Reinhardt, he took out his ID from his pocket, and then waved it in front of Earl Reinhardt. My name is Garner, and this is my ID. Mr. Garner, this way, please. At the invitation of Earl Reinhardt, Garner got into the carriage. On the carriage, Count Reinhardt briefly mentioned some coincidence things to Garner. Garner heard the words, but did not make any statement. Earl Reinhardt and Duke Richard have already inquired about Garner through various channels, and believe that Garner will not believe their one-sided words until he sees the evidence. Of course, if you want Garner to do things, you have to give Garner benefits. Garner is a greedy man. The carriage stopped in front of Count Reinhardt's mansion. Garner and Earl Reinhardt entered the mansion together. Although it was looted by the pirate, and even partially burned, Earl Reinhardt's houses were many, and they were repaired very quickly. Therefore, the standard of reception is not low. After the two sat down, Earl Reinhardt poured wine for Garner first, and then said, "This wine is a specialty of our country. It is a high-end South Blue red wine. I also prepared some for Mr. Garner to take back." 10 servants came to Garner holding the wooden box containing the wine. The box was opened in front of Garner. The box is full of banknotes. There are 20 million Pele's in a box, 200 million Baileys. Garner's eyes lit up, and then a smile appeared on his face. He drank high-grade red wine. I will start investigating this case immediately. As long as the evidence is convincing, the violators will be severely punished. Money can turn ghosts around. The nobles knew this well. What's more, Earl Reinhardt has already inquired about it, and Garner is a person who has an eye for money. Garner has framed many people for money. A reputation can be as bad as it gets. Thanks for your hard work, Mr. Garner. The Kingdom of Arthur will never forget your hard work, Earl Reinhardt said with a smile. Garner received 200 million Pele, so it is natural to investigate. As the saying goes, one must tie the bell to untie it. I want to investigate whether the attack on Fast Harbor is the work of Branch 189. That's very simple, just review the Marine of Branch 189 separately. As for whether they will confess, it doesn't matter. If you want to add a crime, there is no excuse. Of course, the premise is that Earl Reinhardt is willing to add money. Just 200 million Baileys? That's not enough for Garner. Garner comes to Port Wilhelm. Order in the port of Wilhelm has long since been restored. If it wasn't for the burning marks of the buildings in the port, it would not have been attacked by pirates at all. At this time, Garner noticed something. All businessmen and tourists who landed in Wilhelm port are queuing up to donate money. Garner took a closer look. The money was going to the Marine Veterans and Disability Foundation. What will happen if you don't donate? At this time, a passenger in gray clothes asked. Another passenger wearing a yellow hat replied, "Then you cannot enter the port of Wilhelm and you will be taken for investigation." The gray-clothed traveler asked, "Why?" The passenger in the yellow hat replied, "This is the rule set by the Marine." Garner thought it would be troublesome to collect evidence, but unexpectedly, it would be so easy. Just entering Hong Kong to make donations is extortion. However, Garner also admires the commander of the 189th branch, not only greedy, but also quite courageous. Extorting money openly and above board, this money-raising speed is faster than pirates stealing money. Just as Garner and the others were about to leave the port, a group of sailors stopped Garner and the others. "Wait. What's wrong?" Garner asked, frowning. The ensign officer who blocked the way reminded, "Go in the direction of the queue." Garner took out his ID and shook it chicly. "Did you see it? Certificate of CP4. CP4. After receiving the documents, Marine Ensign knew that Garner was CP4, so he said to Garner, "What are you doing here?" "We CP4 handle the case. Do we need to explain to you?" Garner chuckled. He didn't pay much attention to Marine from the South Blue branch. "Wait. Let's check." At this time, Ensign went to contact Oren. Garner snorted softly, then smoked to himself. In South Blue, CP4 can walk sideways. Moments later, Ensign returned and Garner was allowed a pass. Ghana withdrew his documents and swaggered to the 189 branch base. At this time, Oren learned that Garner had brought people in, and he was waiting for Garner with the officers. After Garner and Oren met, Garner took out his ID in the investigation documents of the world government, and said, "Received a report from the Kingdom of Arthur. From now on, Branch 189 will be investigated." Reported by Kingdom Arthur. The Marine generals behind Oren were a little nervous. If Naval Headquarters sent people to investigate, then they would not be afraid. However, CP and them are not in the same system. They usually do not deal with CP. People are full of fear of the unknown. After hearing this, Oren came to Garner with a smile on his face. He whispered in Garner's ear, "Brother, do you know Victor Vice Admiral?" "Victor Vice Admiral? Of course." Garner said casually. Of course he knew Victor. Victor has been a supernova in Marine these past few months. Garner is sure that Victor will be promoted to Admiral and even Marshal in the future. Oren suddenly raised his arms and shouted loudly, "Long live Lord Victor." The sudden shout stunned Garner. "Long live Lord Victor. Long live Lord Victor. Long live Lord Victor." At this time, the Marines of the entire 189th branch were shouting, "Long live Victor." Garner suddenly realized something. He almost accidentally kicked the iron plate. Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. Garner hurriedly forced a smile, and said to Oren, "Colonel Oren, although I'm here to investigate, I believe that none of this has anything to do with Branch 189. Oren has already clarified, showing that he is Victor's subordinate. If Garner still investigates Oren, it's going to be hard on Victor. Although Garner is the highest officer of CP4, CP4 is really too small in front of Marine Vice Admiral, especially Marine's future Admiral and Marshal. Garner wouldn't dare offend Victor. Garner is greedy for money and afraid of death, but he knows how to adapt to the wind. Now Garner understood why the 5 elders had sent him to Arthur's kingdom. The 5 elders must have known early on that Victor was behind Oren. "Then how do I cooperate with the Ghanaian chief's investigation?" Oren asked with a smile. After Oren got Victor's support, he knew there was nothing he could do in South Blue. In the past, Victor was only a colonel, and Naval Headquarters couldn't handle Victor. Now that Victor is Vice Admiral, what is Oren afraid of? Ha ha ha. Garner laughed awkwardly. "Colonel Oren, aren't we just investigating?" Oren had a smile on his face. All the Marines around had smiles on their faces. They have Victor to protect them, so what are they afraid of? At this moment, Oren took out a cigarette and handed the cigarette to Garner. "Would Mr. Garner have a meal with us?" "Of course I would, of course I would." Ghana has no reason to refuse. Just now, Oren almost kicked the iron board, and now Oren took the initiative to extend an olive branch, and he just took the opportunity to ease the relationship between them. Oren and Garner come to the best restaurant in Port Wilhelm. After the food and drinks were served, Oren said to Garner, "Sir Garner, I wonder if you have heard of the Blue Ocean Project." "Project Blue Ocean?" Garner shook his head upon hearing this. He hadn't heard of it. Oren said seriously, "This is Lord Victor's dream. Lord Victor wants to purify the evil forces in the sea and make the sea pure and blue. That's what it means." Garner suddenly realized. Oren went on to say, "We are all members of the Blue Ocean Club, voluntarily follow Lord Victor, and strive for Lord Victor's dream." When Garner heard this, his eyes lit up. Blue Ocean meeting. Equal to Victor's henchmen. Oren's words are telling Garner that we are all Victor's cronies. Oren said, "If the governor of Ghana also has the same ambition as us, he can join us." "Can I join too?" Garner was taken aback when he heard this, but was delighted instead. Oren laughed loudly and said, "As long as you are willing to follow Lord Victor, we are all welcome." The Blue Ocean Society is a faction spontaneously created by Oren. As a subordinate of Victor, how do you highlight loyalty? That required Oren's imagination. One is to get more money for Victor. The second is to increase power for Victor. Only in this way, Victor will recognize Oren's ability and give Oren more power. I am willing, of course I am willing. Garner thought that the Blue Ocean would be founded by Victor, and thought that if he joined it, he could become Victor's confidant. Push the cup and change the cup, and finish the meal. A total of more than 3 million Baileys were consumed. Garner rushed to pay the money. Garner wrote a report and included the fact that Earl Reinhardt sent him 200 million Baileys into the report. Subsequently, Garner returned to the Kingdom of Arthur with the investigation report. This time, Garner went directly to Duke Richard. Garner handed over the investigation report to Duke Richard. After reading the report, Duke Richard turned pale. Duke Richard never expected that Garner would bite back. "Mr. Garner, what do you mean?" Duke Richard asked coldly. As the future king of a member country of the world government, Duke Richard must have momentum. Garner replied, "I was in branch 189, and I did not investigate any criminal evidence. On the contrary, Earl Reinhardt bribed me as soon as I arrived in Fastport. These are all facts. I just wrote them truthfully in the investigation report." Without waiting for Duke Richard to refute, Garner continued, "Although CP4 and Marine are different systems, what we do is for justice and stability. Now you bribe me to frame the righteous Marine. I can't do this kind of thing." Duke Richard's eyes widened when he heard this. According to the information inquired by Duke Richard, Garner is greedy for money and afraid of death. As long as there is money to be made, Garner doesn't care who the other party is, even if it is a person of high esteem, he will still be charged by Garner and sent to Eni's lobby for trial. However, Garner is a completely different person now. Opening and shutting is justice. Okay, I will pass this report to my superiors. After Garner finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. Wait. Duke Richard hurriedly stopped Garner. "To the superiors, isn't it to the 5 elders? Sir Garner, we are willing to pay this amount again." Duke Richard held out a hand. "Another 500 million Pele. Counting the 200 million Baileys given before, the Kingdom of Arthur is willing to pay 700 million Baileys to deal with Oren." In Duke Richard's opinion, Garner is going to temporarily increase the price. However, as long as money can solve the problem, Duke Richard is willing to solve it. After Oren is dealt with, if Branch 189 can have a normal commander, then everything will return to normal. Otherwise, as long as Oren is still there will be no peaceful days in the Kingdom of Arthur. "I will also record this matter," Garner said to Duke Richard. Duke Richard's face suddenly changed. He realizes that things are more serious than he thought. Oren sent Victor a fax. The content is related to Ghana. The world government sent Garner to investigate Branch 189, and Oren not only solved the problem, but also absorbed Garner, making Garner a member of the Blue Ocean Club. Oren specifically mentioned the Blue Ocean Club in his fax. According to Oren, the Blue Ocean Club is the most devout follower of Victor, and every member is willing to give his life for Victor's dream. This moment, in the commander's office of the G1 branch, Victor looked at the letter from Oren and couldn't help but smile. Blue Ocean meeting? That's a creative idea. Victor thought about it and decided to promote Blue Ocean Club, making Blue Ocean Club a real organization. Subsequently, Victor wrote a letter of recommendation, and he wanted to recommend Oren to be the commander of the Truro Fortress of the 6th Division. That's the rank of Commodore. Bribing CP4 and framing Marine is no small matter. Marine is the face of the world government. To frame Marine is tantamount to discrediting the world government. Although Duke Richard is about to become the king of the Kingdom of Arthur, once this matter is made public, the consequences will be very serious. So, Duke Richard was persuaded, and he hoped to be able to privately minimize as much as possible. So, Duke Richard immediately invited Oren and Garner to dinner. Oren and Garner also accepted the settlement. However, Oren is not willing to go to Arthur's kingdom. Duke Richard is now being held accountable and has no substantive evidence to fight back. Therefore, he can only go to the Port of Wilhelm. Port of Wilhelm, 189 Branch Station. In Oren's office, Duke Richard and Oren meet for the first time. When we first met, Oren pretended to be confused. "Why did Your Excellency the Duke come to see me?" Duke Richard replied, "The incident at Port Fast was a misunderstanding, and I came here to apologize to Colonel Oren." Oren said with a blank expression, "It doesn't matter if I'm alone, but the justice of the Marine and the reputation of the world government. What's more, as Lord Victor's subordinate and the most devout follower, my affairs will also affect Victor, Sir's prestige, and the entire Blue Ocean Club." Oren is going to give Richard a big hat, which he learned from Victor. He is awe-inspiring, opening and closing his mouth about Marine, world government, Victor, and the Blue Ocean Club. Takes things to an extremely high level. Actually, Duke Richard understands. Isn't this just compensation? Moreover, Duke Richard also heard that Oren wanted the lion to open his mouth. If it doesn't satisfy him, then he won't let it go. Duke Richard can only admit it now. He now understands that Oren is not an ordinary Marine. Oren has a background. The world government didn't really intend to deal with Oren either. If not, an officer from Eni's lobby, or an investigative team from Naval Headquarters should be sent. Thinking of this, Duke Richard said, "I would like to publish an apology in the newspaper, and at the same time, donate 3 billion Baileys to the Marine Veterans and Disabled Foundation." 3 billion Pele, this is not a small number. Oren, however, did not respond. "Well, keep adding money." Duke Richard gritted his teeth and said, 5 billion. At this time, Oren said, "Except for the donation of 5 billion Baileys, the Port of Fast is the same as the Port of Wilhelm. Naturally, this extortion is not a one-time transaction, it is continuous." Oren added, "Only in this way can the long-term peace of Fastport and the Kingdom of Arthur be guaranteed. The implication is that if you don't agree, many problems will arise." Garner raised his hand and patted Duke Richard on the shoulder. "Master Victor will be a Marine Admiral in the future, or even a Marshal." Upon hearing this, Duke Richard nodded, "I see. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Victor just faxed Kuang. Victor. Sora is also very helpless now. Victor's promotion rate has been very fast. Oren's promotion speed is also jaw-droppingly fast. Since Victor came to Branch 191, it has only been more than a year, and Oren has been continuously promoted. He had just been promoted to the rank of colonel, and Victor recommended Oren again." Kuang glanced at the newspaper on the table. A report in the newspaper was related to Oren. It's a letter of apology from Arthur Kingdom. Although it is a public apology, Victor did do a lot of shady things when he was in South Blue. Use various means to collect money, including extortion. At this time, Sengoku walked in, saw Sora's sad face, and asked, "Is it related to Victor?" "Well, it's him." Sora didn't deny it either. Sengoku glanced at the newspaper on the table and said, "These are small things, not enough to affect stability." In Sengoku's eyes, the stability of the sea is the most important thing. And he implied that he could agree to Victor. Anyway, Victor's subordinates are in South Blue. Apart from extorting money, they also perform their duties, uphold justice and fight against pirates. "You came to see me, is there something?" Sora asked. "The candidate I just picked." Sengoku handed Sora a report. Sora looked at the content of Sengoku's report. Shichibukai candidates. After reading the report, Sora couldn't help frowning. Shichibukai was proposed by the world government. The purpose is to check and balance pirates with pirates. This way, Marine can concentrate on dealing with Roger et al. Just being empty is also hard to accept. Because as long as Shichibukai becomes Shichibukai, not only will Shichibukai be cancelled, but at the same time, he can also obtain the legal right to plunder. Of course, only countries that are not part of the world government can be plundered. They do have a deterrent effect. Putting down the report, Sora said to Sengoku, "Go invite them." See Circle Calendar late 1494. One thing has once again sparked extensive discussions within Marine. That's Oren getting promoted again. On Victor's recommendation, Oren successfully became the commander of Truro Fortress. In just a few months, from colonel to commodore rank. Moreover, Oren doesn't have any combat exploits that can be shown. Most of the pirates caught were small characters, and the reward of millions of Baileys was not worth mentioning at all. As one of Victor's subordinates, Marta was jealous. Because Oren's promotion rate is much faster than him. In terms of personal strength, Marta thought he would be inferior to Oren, but Oren could rise so fast. Not only Marta, but other officers of the 191st branch are also envious and jealous. Because after Oren is promoted, the Marine of Branch 189 will also be promoted. I heard that Oren created the Blue Ocean Club for Mr. Victor, and was appreciated by Mr. Victor. Blue Ocean Club. What is Blue Ocean Club? With the goal of purifying the sea, all members are the most devout followers of Lord Victor. We are also Lord Victor's followers. It's different. I heard that the 189th branch shouts, "Long live Lord Victor," every day, and there are statues and photos of Lord Victor everywhere in the barracks. Everything Sir Victor said has been compiled into books. Oren is too good at flattering. Otherwise, how could he rise so fast? Maybe, he still has a chance to be promoted to Rear Admiral, and he will be transferred to the headquarters in the future. At this time, the officers of the 191 branch were discussing. Oren's quick success allowed the officers to discover a shortcut. As Victor's former team, they can naturally join the Blue Ocean Club. Moreover, purifying the sea is Victor's dream, and it is absolute justice. And not just in branch 191. Even the G1 branch has started to promote the Blue Ocean Club. The goal of the Blue Ocean Club is to purify the evil forces in the sea and make the sea pure and blue. Therefore, joining the Blue Ocean Society is not only for promotion and fortune, but also for justice. If you plant flowers deliberately, the flowers will not bloom, but if you plant willows unintentionally, they will make shade. Victor did not expect that the Blue Ocean Club, created by Oren, would expand and grow rapidly. Now in the G1 branch, there are already many Marines who want to join the Blue Ocean Club. Of course, Victor also knew in his heart that most of these people joined the Blue Ocean Club for their own future. However, it doesn't matter. They were after Victor's purpose, and Victor didn't care. What he needs now is power, a huge following. The rise of the Blue Ocean Club just happened to further expand its influence in Marine. In order to highlight the advantages of the Blue Ocean Club, Victor promoted a group of members of the Blue Ocean Club, or transferred them to positions that were easier to promote or paid better. In this way, a conclusion was given to the G1 branch Marine. Only those who follow Victor and show their loyalty can be easily promoted. At the same time, in order to improve the recognition of Blue Ocean Club, Victor decided to make the badge of the Blue Ocean Club. Wearing the badge of the Blue Ocean Club can make it easier to identify. The logo of Marine is a seagull with a scale in its mouth, symbolizing the maintenance of world peace and order. Taking this as inspiration, Victor made the badge of the Blue Ocean Club. The emblem of the Blue Ocean Club is a blue ocean with the word justice on it. This pattern symbolizes the blue sea and the justice of the Blue Ocean Society. After the badge was made, Victor wore the badge himself. Eric, Kennard, Wright, Connor and others also wore the badges of the Blue Ocean Club that day. As Victor placed an order with the factory, more and more Blue Ocean Club badges were sent to the G1 branch, South Blue Crudo Fortress, 189 branch, 191 branch, and Marineford Town. More and more Marines have begun to wear the Blue Sea Club badge. Town of Marineford, Marine Military Academy. Kuzan just walked into the cafeteria. At this time, many students in the cafeteria gathered together. Those who want to participate in the Blue Ocean Club can sign up here. Line up here. Keep the order. Come to me to get the form and fill in the information. The noise in the cafeteria attracted Kuzan's attention, and Kuzan followed the prestige. At this time, a banner was pulled up in front of several dining tables. The content of the banner read, "Join the Blue Ocean Club, purify the evil forces on the sea, and make the sea pure and blue." Blue Ocean Meeting. Although Kuzan is very unfamiliar with Blue Ocean, Kuzan was deeply impressed by the second half of the sentence on the banner. Because Victor once mentioned it in his personal speech. Kuzan. At this time, a young man came behind Kuzan. Kuzan turned to look at the youth. The young man is called Thor, and he is from the same class as Kuzan. Kuzan noticed a badge on Thor's chest. Pointing to his badge, Thor said proudly, "I have joined the Blue Ocean Club and officially become a member of it." Yeah. Kuzan was not surprised, because Thor admired Victor. More than once Thor has publicly extolled Victor's great Yamato selflessness. "You can join too," Thor said with a smile. Kuzan frowned, looking at the long line of people. He shook his head temporarily. "Let's talk about it later." Thor heard the words and didn't persuade him anymore. He knew that the man Kuzan admired was Garp. Moreover, Victor's justice is too radical, and Kuzan doesn't quite agree with it. Despite this, there are still many students who sign up, and they recognize Victor's justice. Purify all sins, and the sea will return to tranquility. G1 branch, Commander's office. Tuk tuk. At this time, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Victor called to the door. 3 young people came in front of Victor, and after he stood up straight, he saluted Victor. The 3 youths held their heads high, especially the Blue Ocean Club badge on their chests, which was particularly bright. Victor said to the 3 youths, "I have something that I need you to do." The 3 youths answered loudly at the same time, "The task is definitely completed." They are all members of the Blue Ocean Club, so naturally they have to complete the orders arranged by Victor. Andrew. Rivera. Guerra. Victor looked at the 3 youths. "I need you to go to East Blue, West Blue and North Blue, and then promote the concept of Blue Sea Club. To purify the sea, we need more comrades," Victor said seriously. "Yes." The 3 youths replied at the same time. These 3 youths are in the same class as Wright and Connor. The candidate recommended by Wright. The strength of the 3 is also relatively weak. If they stay in New World, they are likely to die in battle. Therefore, Victor is going to send them all over the world. It is not an easy task to control the Marines all over the world. However, it is not difficult to expand the influence of the Blue Ocean Club to the whole world and collect money. See Circle Calendar 1495. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Victor promoted the expansion of the Blue Ocean Club and continued to recruit members. This news is all on the surface, and the senior management of Naval Headquarters is naturally clear. He was not surprised when he learned of the goal of the Blue Ocean Club. Victor's personality design over the years, as well as the current Blue Ocean Club, all provide a reasonable basis for he. Victor hates pirates and wants to wipe out all the evils on the sea. So, Victor sprang into action. As for the formation of cliques, it is not the first time in Naval Headquarters. At this time, Garp came over and sat on the sofa, reading the newspaper while eating the senbei on the table. Kuzan followed Garp, who was sent to intern with Garp at the beginning of the year. In the newspaper, a picture of a Marine colonel catching a pirate is particularly eye-catching. What caught Garp's attention was not that the colonel had caught the pirate who was offering a bounty of 14 million Baileys, but that the colonel Marine was wearing the badge of the Blue Ocean Club on his chest. It's not South Blue, it's not a G1 branch, it's not Naval Headquarters. Instead, in East Blue, the Marine captain graduated last year and was an intern on Garp's ship. If Garp remembers correctly, this colonel should be in the G1 branch, and his rank should be lieutenant junior grade. I didn't expect East Blue to have a Blue Sea Club, Victor. Garp grumbled. He also read the newspaper reports, and she said, "The child's intention is good." Garp didn't answer the call and continued to watch other news. He saw Supernova Shacklock Doll, and an impressive face, Douglas Bullet. Needless to say, Shacklock Doll made the world remember him as soon as he debuted. Now the reward has reached 82 million Baileys. Bullet was once a member of the Roger Pirates, and his intention to disembark is currently unknown. Therefore, the world government also pays attention to Bullet. However, Garp cares more about Roger. Arresting Roger is the last thing Garp wants to do. Garp. At this time, Sengoku came in and said to Garp, "The marshal told you to find him." Understood. Garp stood up and left the office impatiently. I heard that Vice Admiral Garp is going to be promoted to Admiral? I've heard that too. It's long overdue for Vice Admiral Garp. Yeah. Vice Admiral Garp is so powerful. After Garp left, some young people were discussing Garp's promotion. These young men are cadets who are graduating this year, and they have just completed their internships on Garp's ship. Kuzan was about to join the discussion when he heard a Rear Admiral speak. "What are you thinking?" Rear Admiral burst into the mouth, correcting the intern's wrong thinking. The reason why Vice Admiral Garp doesn't want to promote Admiral is that he doesn't want to be promoted at all, not because the department doesn't allow him to be promoted. Huh. The interns were all stunned when these words came out. Seeing that the interns were stunned, Rear Admiral added, "Vice Admiral Garp has been refusing to be promoted all these years." Refused to be promoted to Admiral. Kuzan was also taken aback, but after he realized it, he admired Garp even more. Garp came to the Marshal's office. Sora threw the appointment letter from the world government in front of Garp. Garp didn't even look at it, so he just refused. Garp said to Sora, "Sora, I'm not interested in Admiral's position. I don't want to tell you the same thing over and over again." Sora glanced at Garp, then puffed on his cigar. It's not the first time Garp has turned down a promotion. However, Marine now only has 2 admirals, Sengoku and Zephyr. Zephyr also focuses on the cultivation of the new generation. 5 Elders has long expressed dissatisfaction with Admiral's lack of combat power. Garp sat down, picked up his cigar. "If you need more deterrence, you can find Victor. Victor's past record and combat performance are good enough for Marine Admiral." Kong took a puff of cigarette. 5 Elders will naturally arrange this matter. The implication is that Victor's promotion to Marine Admiral is a certainty. As for when, that's not up to Kong to decide. Garp and Victor are 2 extremes. Victor wants promotion, Garp does the opposite. However, although they are all headaches, after Marine has them, it really gives people a lot of peace of mind. Marshal. At this time, a Marine Rear Admiral ran away in a hurry. "What happened?" Kong asked. Rear Admiral replied, "Roger and the Golden Lion met at Admiral Beach." Sora's complexion changed suddenly. Golden Lion has always wanted to get the whereabouts of ancient weapon from Roger. Therefore, the encounter between the two is a huge crisis for the world. Go and inform Sengoku to assemble the fleet, and the G1 and G5 branches will assemble immediately. Sora responded in the shortest possible time. "Wait. Garp, I have something to tell you." Sora also wanted to ask Garp a few words. However, Garp has turned around. "That's your business, mine is over." At this time, Kuzan and others were waiting outside the corridor of the Marshal's office. "Vice Admiral Garp, you have refused to promote Admiral again." Kuzan looked at Garp adoringly. "I want to be free to do things. I don't need a higher position than this." Garp said casually, striding forward. "It's so cool." Kuzan was very excited. Garp, however, paid no heed to Kuzan's reaction. At this time, Garp came to he and the others. Several Marine Vice Admirals, including Crane, also got the news that Roger and Golden Lion met. Garp took the initiative to say to he, "If you go out of the boat, let me go." Crane looked at Garp in surprise. "I haven't given the attack order yet." Then, Crane shook his head and said, "If you were here, the ship would be destroyed in one fell swoop, and I won't let you aboard." "Don't say that. Roger must be taken care of by me myself." Garp laughed. While Crane, Garp and others were talking, Akainu kept silent and walked in front of the crowd. He was transferred back from New World not long ago and has now been promoted to colonel. At this time, Garp has come to the pier. Sengoku gathers his forces on the pier. Sengoku saw Garp appearing and was about to board his boat. He couldn't help frowning. "Garp, this matter has been entrusted to me, so don't interfere." "Don't worry, the credit is all yours." Garp laughed, and took Kuzan and others aboard. "Bastard, those are 2 different things." Sengoku was annoyed, but he couldn't stop Garp. Xiao, Flying Squirrel and others were very excited when they saw this scene. Sengoku Admiral, Vice Admiral Garp joined forces. And a Victor Vice Admiral. Roger must be no match. G1 branch. Victor received a message from the headquarters. Since being sent to the G1 branch as the commander, Victor's number of sorties has decreased. As a commander, how can the commander charge forward? Moreover, Victor's main task is to track Roger while maintaining the safety of the channel. Is it finally here? Victor knew that day would come sooner or later. And this is his chance. After the Advor naval battle, the flying pirates were seriously injured, and it was a good opportunity to annihilate them in one fell swoop. Victor wants to step on the Golden Lion. So, Victor shouted to Wright and Connor. Send the order, all the G1 branch gather. The G1 branch needs daily patrol routes, so it will take some time to build up. See Circle Calendar in 1495, Shiki finally got the whereabouts of Roger and his group, and Shiki assembled the fleet at the fastest speed, trying to surround Roger. Near Ed Wall Beach today, the wind and waves are fierce. Iger, the captain of the number 7 ship, looked at the Golden Jackson on the opposite side and muttered to himself, "It's really bad weather." Wahahaha. Carlyle patted Ignaz on the shoulder and said, "It doesn't matter, the enemy only has one ship. The fleet assembled by Shiki already has more than 30 ships. And Roger has only one boat. In comparison, the flying pirates have an absolute advantage in terms of ships and troops. Therefore, from Carlyle's point of view, the flying pirates have absolutely no possibility of losing." Roger. At this time, Shiki stood at the bow of the ship, smoking a cigar, and shouted towards the Golden Jackson. "I've told you this matter dozens of times. Although there were many grievances when I was young, let them pass in the past. You know where the weapon to destroy the world is hidden, plus my military strength, and the perfect plan that I have spent many years formulating. Now I can immediately dominate the world. Come on, Roger. Be my right-hand man." Shiki's shout penetrated the wind and waves, and was clearly transmitted to the Golden Jackson. Roger and others heard it clearly. In addition to being able to hear clearly, they can also identify Shiki. The ground-length golden hair is like a lion's mane, and the sideburns and beard are all golden, and the sideburns are also very long. This look is unique in New World. Buggy looks at Shiki, and no matter how many times he looks at it, he always feels scared when he faces the Golden Lion. That's the mentality you don't have when you're facing Whitebeard. Is it because Whitebeard isn't that bad? This moment. In the number 5 pirate ship of the Flying Pirates, a pirate cadre named Felion quietly took out the phone bug in the cabin. The Golden Lion has surrounded Roger. Flywheel's true identity is actually an undercover agent sent by Sengoku to the Flying Pirates. Not only can you find the location of the undercover through the lifecard fragments on the undercover. At the same time, it can also allow undercover agents to create riots and panic among the enemies at critical moments. Of course, the most important thing is intelligence gathering. I understand, you have to pay attention to safety. Phone bug imitates Sengoku's voice. Flywheel put away the phone bug and crept back on deck, continuing to monitor Roger and Golden Lion. At this time, Roger shouted loudly, "Shiki, I'm not interested in domination. If you can't do whatever you want, then what's the point of being a pirate? No matter how much pressure you put on me, I will refuse your request." After hearing Roger's reply, Buggy hugged her head in panic. "Captain, there are dozens of ships on the opposite side." Standing on the bow of the ship, Shiki said with contemptuous eyes, "That is to say, your answer is to let me here and end your life?" Dozens of ships attack one ship at the same time. Under a salvo of shells, the Golden Jackson would be smashed into a sieve. "I mean kill you all," Roger replied, his eyes glowing red with murderous intent. Roger is not a nice guy. "Little ones, kill them." Golden Lion swung his knife, and dozens of ships approached the Golden Jackson and began shelling. "Brothers, kill them." Roger waved the knife in his hand without fear. A ship against more than 30 ships, the war broke out in an instant. Taking advantage of the war, Flywheel picked up the phone bug and contacted Sengoku to inform the two sides of the war. However, just when Fei Lu had just finished his report and was about to return to the deck, the already dark sky suddenly blew a strong wind and set off huge waves. The pirate ship on which the Flywheel was riding happened to be hit by a huge wave and swallowed. Flywheel, Flywheel. Sengoku contacted Flywheel several times, but was unable to contact Flywheel. "What's wrong?" Garp asked. "I can't reach Chakra." Sengoku looked at the lifecard fragments in his hand. Lifecards are special items unique to New World. It is neither afraid of water nor fire. Made by mixing your own nails into the material, it is a paper that represents the vitality of the owner. Usually people will tear it up and give it to relatives or friends who are about to be separated, and the torn papers will attract each other. The life card shrinks when the owner is weak, and returns to its original size when the owner regains health. If the life card slowly turns to ashes, it means that the owner is not far from death. At this moment, Garp looked at the life card, which began to get smaller. Have you been found? Sengoku clenched his fists. Sengoku doesn't know the situation at the scene, he can only judge through the life card. Garp was silent. Being an undercover agent is not so easy. Over the years, too many undercover agents have sacrificed. They are unsung heroes. At this time, the fleet of the G1 branch merged with the fleet led by Sengoku. Victor boards Sengoku's warship, and he notices that Sengoku is in a bad mood. Sengoku Admiral, is something wrong? Victor asked. Sengoku shook his head and didn't answer Victor. Sengoku ordered. The situation has changed, we will go directly to Adwar Beach. Yes. Victor gave a military salute, then turned around and gave Wright and Connor a look. Wright and Connor went to convey the order. The next morning. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this time, the phone bug in Sengoku's arms rang. Hello. Sengoku picked up the phone bug. Sora said to Sengoku, the war between Roger and the Golden Lion is over. How is that possible? Sengoku asked in surprise. Kuang said. As soon as they started the war, the bad weather ushered in, and half of the Golden Lion's fleet was wiped out by the waves. Half the fleet, Sengoku didn't feel the slightest bit excited when he heard the news. Kuang went on to say, now Golden Lion and his remaining fleet have withdrawn, and the whereabouts of Roger and his group are unknown. So, you should withdraw too. Yes. Sengoku nodded. Marine and world government are targeting Roger. As for the Golden Lion, it's not the most important thing. And with the existence of the Golden Lion, on the contrary, it can play a role in balancing the new world. After Sengoku ended the call, he called a meeting of all the generals. The content of the meeting is to retreat. Why retreat? Now that Golden Lion's vitality is seriously injured, this is the perfect opportunity to eliminate him. Yeah, why retreat? The new generations of Marine don't understand. They are all eager to use their own power to punish evil and promote good, and to maintain justice. At this point, Sakazuki said nothing, he was a little gloomy all over. Are you used to it? At this time, Victor came to Sakazuki's side. Sakazuki is now alone. Ghost Spider and Dogman were transferred to other units. And Sakazuki has a gloomy face all day long, and no one wants to talk to him, and he doesn't take the initiative to approach other people. After hearing Victor's inquiry, Sakazuki still didn't say a word. Would you like to come to G1? Victor said to Sakazuki. I want to do something big, and I need your help. Sakazuki looked at Victor suspiciously. Victor took out a cigarette and handed one to Sakazuki. We are actually the same kind of people, but our methods are different. A class of people? Of course not. Victor just wanted to get closer to each other, so he said some polite words. Sakazuki did not object, nodded and said, I agree with your dream. Purify the sea and eliminate all evils on the sea. Absolute justice. Sakazuki agrees with Victor. Victor asked. So, do you want to join forces temporarily? Joining forces? Sakazuki didn't understand. Victor said, don't you think now is a good time to kill the Golden Lion? Yeah. Sakazuki nodded. Victor said, if we join forces, coupled with the strength of the G1 branch, the surprise attack will definitely be successful. Victor considered that it would be almost impossible to catch the Golden Lion if he was alone. However, if you join forces with Sakazuki, the success rate is much higher. When? Sakazuki asked. Victor said, of course, the sooner the better, if they are seriously injured. Sakazuki asked, how do you get their place? The Golden Lion's territory is not fixed. Because of Golden Lion's lion fruit ability, he can move at any time. Victor smiled slightly and said, I have my way. Seeing Victor's confident look, Sakazuki said, okay, I agree to join forces with you. Then wait for my message. Victor took out a phone bug and handed it to Sakazuki. I will contact you when I am ready. Sakazuki put away the phone bug, turned and left. Victor leaned on the side of the boat and looked towards the sea. The position of Marine Admiral was getting closer and closer to him. The air pirates lost half of their fleet, and many more were seriously injured in the storm. Even the Golden Lion was traumatized. Therefore, the flying pirates need a lot of medical supplies, as well as ship repair materials. In New World, if you want to buy a lot of medical supplies and ship repair materials, you can only go through Saladi's black market. Victor had made a big fuss about the black market in Saladi before, and cut off Carrie's left hand. Carrie is a typical soft and hard food. As the king of New World's underground black market, Carrie has his principles. If he succumbs to Victor, not only will his business not survive, but he himself will be disgraced. Therefore, the flying pirates believe that Carrie will not betray them. Saladi Black Market. The flying pirates sent several ships. On the pier, the medicines that have been boxed, piled up like a mountain of materials, are being transported to the ship. Move quickly. Be gentle, don't break the medicine. The pirates of the flying pirates beat the slaves carrying supplies with whips. Black market workers are counting banknotes. This time it was a real hit. However, neither the flying pirates nor the staff of the black market noticed that a figure quietly climbed onto the ship and hid it among the cargo. The sea. 10 warships are parked on the sea. At this time, in the cabin of the flagship, Victor was smoking a cigarette, waiting for the news. Sakazuki sits to Victor's left. Sakazuki asked Sengoku for leave, which was also granted. Not only Sakazuki, but Ghost Spider and Dogman also asked for leave. Is it just us? The Ghost Spider asks Victor. Victor replied. We are raiding, so we don't need so many people. Both Ghost Spider and Dogman frowned. They all thought the battle plan was too radical. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this moment, the phone bug started ringing. Victor picked up the microphone. Master Victor, I have already found their location, you can look for life cards and come to me. The phone bug imitates a youth's voice. The youth is called Maev. Originally a major of the G5 branch, now a colonel of the G1 branch. Victor said seriously. Well done, now you have only one task, and that is to survive. Yes. Maev replied. After the call ended, Victor said to Connor and Wright, let's go. Yes. Connor and Wright went to convey the order. New World, Oceanus Island. If you have a bird's eye view of Occidental Island from a high altitude, the shape of the entire Occidental Island is a crescent moon. Since the disintegration of the Rocks pirate group, Golden Lion has come to Ocean's Island, and since then, it has been the territory of Golden Lion. There are still 16 pirate ships in the bay of Ocean's Island. The failure of Adwar Beach caused the air pirates to lose half of their fleet. At this time, Golden Lion Shiki has awakened and accepted the fact that the steering wheel was inserted into his head. He looked like a chicken because the steering wheel was stuck in too far and couldn't be pulled out. Did you find Roger? Golden Lion asked the man beside him. The man's name is Dr. Andy, he has a weird shape, and he is a Frankenstein in the Golden Lion Pirates. Dr. Andy replied. Not yet, but their situation should not be much better. Don't underestimate them, it's Roger's ship. Although Golden Lion thinks highly of itself, he looks down on Brundywald or Redfield and others. But he never took Roger lightly. In his eyes, Roger is the man who is qualified to compete with him for world hegemony. Even losing to Roger, Golden Lion is not ashamed. At the same time, a fleet of 10 large warships is lining up in a line, sailing towards Ocean's Island where the Golden Lion is located. Pirates that meet Marine on the way will be wiped out. After more than 10 days and nights sailing. Finally, Oceanus Island appeared in front of my eyes. At this time, Victor said to Sakazuki. This is up to you to be the vanguard and attack the port head-on. Using us as bait? Ghost Spider asked with a frown. Is there a problem? Victor asked Sakazuki. Sakazuki shook his head coolly. That's how it's arranged. Victor looked at the sky. Soon, the moon would hide in the clouds, which would be the perfect time for a sneak attack. Under the night, with the moonlight disappearing, there was silence in the port. Some of the pirates of the Golden Lion Pirates are already drunk. Even if they are not drunk, they gather together to gamble. It never occurred to them that they would be attacked. They are now the overlords of the New World, who dares to attack them? At this time, Dozens of small boats approached quietly. Each boat carries 20 marines. Sakazuki is on the boat. Ghost Spider, Dogman and the others were beating faster. They are well aware of how dangerous the mission tonight is. Call out. Call out. Call out. With 3 flares being fired into the air. Sakazuki and the others jumped up and rushed onto the pier. Kill. Nearly 1,000 marines rushed into the pier, killing everyone they saw. Boom. 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 Marine shot at close range, a row of bullets shot out, and rows of pirates fell to the ground like cutting wheat before they could stand up. The surprise attack was too sudden. What happened? At this time, a man with a knotted beard was woken up. The man's name is Andre, nicknamed Dirty Beard, and he is the captain of the 19th ship of the Golden Lion Pirates. Captain, Marine launches raid. A pirate ran in a panic and reported to Andre. Hearing this, Andre kicked his subordinates away, then grabbed a machete and strode out. Andre soon discovered Sakazuki. At this time, Sakazuki's arms turned into magma, and around Sakazuki, the corpses of pirates can be seen everywhere. The deaths of these pirates are all horrible. Boy, I'm going to chop off your head. Seeing this scene, Andre became angry on the spot. These dead minions are all his subordinates. Dirty Beard Andre, offering a reward of 300 million Baileys. Sakazuki didn't speak, just stood there, waiting for Andre to approach. Die. I saw Andre jumping high, the big knife in his hand wrapped around armament hockey, and slashed at Sakazuki's neck fiercely. Sakazuki's head is about to be chopped off, however, Sakazuki remained motionless. Just at the moment when the knife is about to come, Sakazuki moved. The ghost dog. Gray-black lava palms spurted out. It was so close that Andre couldn't get out of the way. His head was blown off. Spike. Not only the surrounding pirates, but even the marines were frightened by the scene in front of them. Sakazuki is just a colonel, but he can kill Andre the Dirty Beard in an instant. Dirty Beard Andre's reward is as high as 300 million Baileys. Kill them all in one go. At this time, the ghost spider swung its 2 knives, cut down several people in a row, and then shouted loudly. Dogman had a ferocious smile on his face. Nearly 1,000 marines moved forward quickly. Victor was smoking a cigar on the deck, looking at the rapidly advancing marines. A cold light flashed in his eyes. There is bound to be a bloody battle tonight. Still, it all makes sense. Wright looked at Victor. He didn't know what Victor was thinking. However, Senior Victor must not be wrong. Just follow Senior Victor. Tonight's opportunity is fleeting, and everyone must give their best. Victor knows about the Golden Lion's Devil Fruit ability. He should have planned more comprehensively and deployed more troops. However, if there is too much movement, it will alarm the world government. World government is not interested in catching Golden Lion for now. Just like the world government clearly has the ability to wipe out any forces in the world, but deliberately indulges their activities. Yes. Wright stood up straight. The sound of killing from the port spread to the buildings on the island. Golden Lion stood up impatiently. What happened? Dr. Indigo replied. It seems that Marine is calling. Marine? Are they looking for death? Golden Lion said contemptuously, and then he asked again, how many people are here? Is Garp here? Soon, a man answered Golden Lion. Boss, Marine only came with 10 warships this time. 10 warships. Golden Lion couldn't help laughing out loud when he heard that. This little man can be dealt with by myself. Boss, let me go. I will let them know who is the master of New World. Boss, I'll chop off Sengoku's head for you. Boss, let me go. All of Golden Lion's subordinates showed ferocious faces, and they were a group of ruthless characters just by looking at their appearance. These talents are the elite under the command of Golden Lion, who can confront the Roger pirates head-on, and are extremely powerful. And they all think the Marines' commander is Sengoku. Garp, Sengoku, this time I will let them die here. Golden Lion clenched his fists and grinned. Little ones, greet these Marines well. Oh. The pirates under Golden Lion shouted in unison. In most cases, the pirates will not choose to confront Marine head-on. The main reason is that the number, caliber, and accuracy of the cannons of the pirate ships are far inferior to those of the Marines. After all, pirates have no professional training. However, in New World, most pirates dare to confront marine head-on. This is a holdover from the days of the rocks. At this time, the shells landed on the island, smashing the buildings on the island and splashing earth and rocks several meters high. The counterattack of the pirates also began. Boom, boom, boom. In the fort-like building on the island, shells flew towards the sea. The shells fell on the warship, and the deck of the warship was hit. While the sawdust flew around, it also caused a fire. At the same time, bullets whizzed past the scalp, making your teeth chatter. If it is a recruit, there is a high probability that they will shrink in a certain crater, and they will pee their pants in fright. Keep running. Don't be afraid of death. Die 3 times the pension. At this time, the Master Chiefs shouted loudly and continued to charge forward. 3 times the pension is the treatment of death squads today. Sakazuki, Ghost Spider, and Dogman also heard it. Triple pension. How could they not know? Hurry up, move quickly, and lift the wounded down. The military doctor shouted from the rear, and at the same time, stopped the bleeding of the injured sailor. Golden Lion mobilized all the troops to surround and annihilate Marine on the beach. Senior, the death squad has more than 1/3 of the casualties. At this time, Wright came behind Victor and reported to Victor. Victor drew the most elite troops from the Blue Ocean Club. As a result, in less than an hour of fighting, casualties exceeded 1/3. Victor's face was calm. The second attack echelon is ready. Yes. Wright followed Victor's order and continued to fire the signal flare into the air. Call out. Call out. Call out. A second round of flares exploded in the air. Eric, Kennard and others led nearly 3,000 Marines and rushed towards the beach. Drive them all into the sea. Get rid of them. Although the Marine Death Squad is not afraid of death, the pirates are more excited and bloodthirsty seeing more and more Marines die. However, that's what Victor is for. Use expendables as bait. Although it is cruel, it is very useful and can inspire blood on both sides. Hateful. Why are there more and more? The Ghost Spider's body has been injured in many places. Things were just as bad for Dogman. The strength of the flying pirates cannot be underestimated. When, at this time, a man swung his naginata and slashed fiercely. The Ghost Spider swung a knife to resist. After this knife slash, the Ghost Spider's hand holding the knife opened its tiger's mouth. Just when the man was about to slash at the Ghost Spider again, Connor and others rushed forward, and dozens of knives slashed at the man. The naginata in the man's hand held dozens of knives. Ah-ha-ha-ha-ha. The man laughed loudly with a hideous look on his face. The man's face is very recognizable. It is a tapered face, like a bamboo shoot, and the man's hands and feet are very long. The man is a mixed race of long-handed and long-footed people. His name is Laika, and he has a bounty of 440 million Baileys for the captain of the 11th ship. Before joining the Flying Pirates, he was already a famous pirate. Today I can kill as fast as I can. Bu Laika swung the naginata in his hand, and with just one slash, nearly 100 sailors were cut into the air. The third attack echelon, land on the island in 10 minutes. Victor continued to give orders. Wright hummed and waited for 10 minutes before firing the signal flare. Okay, I'll leave this to you. After Victor finished speaking, he stepped on the moonwalk and came to the sky. At this time, pirates came back one after another and reported to Golden Lion. One of them still had burn marks on his body. Boss, our ship number 15 is finished, including the captain, was killed by a Marine colonel. Hearing this, Golden Lion couldn't help frowning. Who is it? He was able to kill the captains of 3 ships in a row. At this moment, a short and fat captain not far from the Golden Lion suddenly raised his sniper rifle and aimed at the sky. He is the captain of the number 5 ship, called Doran, and he was born with observation hockey. Boom. With Doran pulling the trigger, bullets flew into the sky. Tempest kicked crescent sky rush. In the air, Victor kicked a milky white crescent-shaped slash downward. The slash hit the bullet, chopped the bullet into pieces, and slashed towards Duolong. At this time, Golden Lion suddenly drew his sword. Slash wave. I saw Golden Lion chopping out a giant sword aura with the sword in his hand. As the great swordsman of the sea, Golden Lion's slashing power is enough to cut hundreds of kilometers of sea. At this time, the sword energy slashed towards the slash kicked by Victor. The two slashes met in the air and collided together in the air. Boom. The earth was cut open. Duolong leapt back with the gun in his hand, narrowly avoiding it. However, the slash came too fast, and the subordinates around Duolong couldn't dodge in time, or even dodge in time. Therefore, it was directly cut open by the crescent-shaped slash. Golden Lion didn't pay attention to Miner's life and death. He looked at the sky with surprise and curiosity in his eyes. At this time, Victor stepped on the moonwalk and looked at the Golden Lion. Boom. At the same time, only a loud bang was heard. Like a volcanic eruption. I saw hundreds of pirates being blasted out by the magma. At the same time, the huge magma fist continued to blast towards the Golden Lion, unabated. Another Logia. There's so much energy in Marine this year. Golden Lion didn't even look at it. He raised his hand, flipped his wrist, and slashed out. Sakura slashed 10 times on the magma fist. Golden Lion remained motionless. The giant magma fist that was unstoppable just now couldn't go any further. Sakazuki looked at Golden Lion coldly. Kahahaha. Golden Lion laughed loudly. Sword energy leaked from the blade, broke through the giant magma fist, and attacked Sakazuki. Sakazuki turned sideways immediately, dodging the attack, but his cheek was still scratched by the sword wave. Golden Lion grinned and said, "Little devil, you are still too young. The world of the strong is too early for you." Sakazuki was expressionless and didn't even care about his injury. However, the Golden Lion cares about Sakazuki just as much, and his eyes are always on Victor in the sky. Victor's slash can break through his sword energy. For the Golden Lion, Victor is more of a threat. However, Sakazuki is not offended at being slighted. Instead, Sakazuki was still sneering inwardly. Those enemies who underestimated him were all instantly killed by him. Sakazuki rushed towards the Golden Lion quickly. "Shave. Call out." Sakazuki disappeared 50 meters away from the Golden Lion. It must be close enough, within the attack distance of the ghost dog, to burst out suddenly. At the same time, Victor also began to dive in the air. He stepped on moonwalk and accelerated towards the ground. "Then come and try." The Golden Lion grinned grimly, and slashed towards Sakazuki and Victor at an extremely fast speed. Lion. Thousand Slice Valley. In the blink of an eye, the Golden Lion made dozens of slashes. The ground was cut. Sakazuki had to dodge the attack. Paper arts windward. Victor began to control his body, dodging the attack in the air. However, the Golden Lion's attack is not over yet. The quick slash just slowed down Victor and Sakazuki, preventing them from approaching easily. Next, the Golden Lion flew almost close to the ground and rushed towards Sakazuki. "I'll kill you first." Golden Lion held Sakuragi and Muku with both hands. Armament Hockey twined his swords, and slashed towards Sakazuki without hesitation. Sakazuki didn't panic at all, however, he still chose to avoid it. The blade slashed across Sakazuki's chest, opening it and splashing blood. However, Sakazuki's foot quickly stabilized, and at the same time, the palm of his right hand spurted out. Black smoke rose from the gray palm, and it shot out at an extremely fast speed, blasting towards the Golden Lion's head. Golden Lion did not dodge, but used another knife to block the incoming palm. "Boy, you were quite insidious." Killing intent was revealed in Golden Lion's eyes. He wanted to kill Sakazuki first, but he was almost overwhelmed by Sakazuki. Fortunately, he is at his peak, whether it is physique, speed, strength, physical strength, or reaction speed, he is in the best state. Moreover, fighting against strong people all the year round, Golden Lion's fighting instinct is extremely strong. Sakazuki wanted to use a sneak attack to kill the Golden Lion in one hit, which is whimsical. However, before Golden Lion could attack again, a crescent-shaped slash came from behind him. Golden Lion floated backwards, narrowly dodging the attack. "Don't forget, we're 2 against 1 now," Victor said calmly. "HMPH. Golden Lion let out a cold snort. "Boss, we are here to support you." At this time, a group of people ran over. The leaders are Faye Noel, the captain of the No. 1 ship, Graham, the captain of the number 2 ship, Pass, the captain of the number 3 ship, Angie, the captain of the number 4 ship, and Doran, the captain of the number 5 ship. Victor landed on the ground. When he looked at Golden Lion, he said blankly, "Sakazuki, you guys have to help me get rid of them." Ghost Spider and Dogman were nervous and flustered when they heard the words. Each of the captains of the Golden Lion pirates is a pirate with a bounty of over 300 million. Especially Faye Noel, the captain of the number 1 ship, Graham, the captain of the number 2 ship, Pass, the captain of the number 3 ship, and Angie, the captain of the number 4 ship. The rewards for all 4 of them exceeded 1 billion Baileys. If Kizaru was present, he would definitely pretend to be scared when he heard these words. After all, there are more than one opponent, and they all have very strong strength. The Magma Boy is handed over to you. Golden Lion looked at Victor and said to Faye Noel and others. Sakazuki is surrounded by a group of people. His task today is not only to bait, but also to withstand the siege of a group of people and win the chance for Victor to single out the Golden Lion. Still, Sakazuki isn't scared. Dai Agi, armed with a pair of double swords, charged at Sakazuki first. Armament Hockey twined his swords and slashed out fiercely. Knives are fast. If there is any hesitation, the heads will be separated. Sakazuki jumped back. The moment when the 2 swords split into the air. Boom. A bullet wrapped around Armament Hockey flew past Sakazuki's cheek. If he had just chosen to attack Angie, Doran's bullet would have shot him. Before Sakazuki landed, 2 clusters of vines suddenly grew on the ground, like pythons, entangled Sakazuki's feet. Armament Hockey is wrapped around the vines, making Sakazuki immobile. 100-style punch. At this moment, Graham threw a punch in front of Sakazuki. The fist wave came head-on. Sakazuki raised his left hand, and his left hand turned into lava. Boom. The fists of the 2 collided firmly. However, just at the moment of contact, Graham was pushed back nearly 100 steps. This guy is so strong. While Graham was shocked, a figure appeared behind Sakazuki. It was Faye Noel, the captain of the number 1 ship. Faye Noel's weapon was a huge scythe. Death Scythe means Shinigami Scythe. Faye Noel swung his sickle and slashed at Sakazuki, trying to split him in 2.